I created a school in College Football 25, and each episode I'll play an entire season with them. To start a new college though, the money has to come from somewhere, and Kentucky billionaire Tamara Gustafson was sick of horse racing. She decided that she wanted to start up her own college, and Kentucky has a northern, a western, and an eastern school in it, but there's not a southern Kentucky university until now. After investing $369 million to start a school, the city of Somerset, located in a county with only 65,000 people, had a new college which also got a Division I football team. It's wild what spending hundreds of millions of dollars can get you. And Southern Kentucky even got a stadium that seats 15,000 people. Then when it came to the mascot, it was a no-brainer for Gustafson because a stallion is a retired racehorse and she owns plenty of those. So that's how the Southern Kentucky University Stallions were founded. SKU was fortunate enough to be invited to join the Sun Belt alongside Western Kentucky, our biggest rivals. But this team is starting at only a 59 overall, and hiring content creator James Bordeaux to be the head coach is a questionable choice, since his only experience is rebuilding colleges and video games. Nothing about Southern Kentucky University is going to be very good, and rebuilding this team on Heisman with the slowest coach XP gain is going to be miserable. There's one other thing I did to make this rebuild super difficult though, and that's using the play call limit setting to make sure that I can only call the same play once a game. We're going to start the year at number 1 Georgia, which is a terrible idea. Then we play our rivals Western Kentucky, and as the season goes on, we'll finish it at Louisville and then at Kentucky. Now it's time that we finally meet some of the roster. So coming in at Kyler Murray height, our starting quarterback is sophomore Casey Quinn, and I have a feeling he's not going to last long for us with only 81 throw power. We might have to resort to another option in this quarterback room, and guys like junior Jamal Walker have a little bit stronger of an arm. Our running back room has a couple of interesting options too, because the brother of Jake Newman is set to be our starting running back, but the issue with junior Jay Newman is he's also only 5'5", and he only has 86 speed as well. That means sophomore backup Scott Simmons could slip in with his 90 speed. Then at wide receiver, everybody's about as bad as each other, but depending how players like sophomore Chris King improve, they could be decent, because somebody has to get open even if they won't catch it when they do. Cookie Williams is a junior with 87 speed, which isn't terrible, and freshman receiver Kingston McCarty could also break out from the slot. At tight end, we'll only have senior Tyler Sams for one season, and scrolling through this offensive line, it's not like you're going to see anything that's very impressive in here or anything that's going to stand out. I'm hesitant to mention many defenders right now too, because I'm not sure which of these players could break out or end up starting for us, but if I had to be excited about somebody, it would be sophomore middle linebacker Grayson Bell Jr. because he has 87 speed. He'll be my user, but the rest of the defense is going to be rough, and pretty much every single defensive back that's starting for us this season is going to graduate at the end of the year. At kicker, we have freshman Jesus Martinez, who's only ever played soccer before, and then we have our senior punter who we're going to use a ton. It's pretty obvious that we are starting from a terrible spot, which is why recruiting is going to be so important for us, but there are some restrictions as a smaller program. Until we make a bowl game, we're only allowed to go after 3-star prospects or lower, and they're only allowed to be from either Kentucky or Tennessee until then too. Team needs is going to show that we clearly need to replace pretty much every single position, and I have gone with the recruiter head coach archetype to help try and acquire talent. We have 5 coach points to spend right now, and I think finding fast wide receivers is my first task, so we're now able to start scouting them faster, and after recruiting, we'll start playing through this entire first season, but these are the only prospects that are available in Kentucky to us. That's going to make it even harder to acquire talent. We'll get a lot of players from Tennessee. This is the first gym I've found a 92 speed running back, but there's also going to be a lot of bust, and when they're a JUCO, there's no way they can stay on our board. It's also hit me that only recruiting in 2 states, we have very limited options at each position, so I'm so thankful that we found Todd Stark at quarterback. I want this to be challenging. I want it to be a grind. I don't want it to be something where we can get really good in just a few years. So we'll see how we do with these restrictions. I'm curious who is our school at number 1, because we can get insta commits from these guys, so we're going to offer out a few scholarships. Spoiler alert, we landed our first one, but it's a 1-star prospect, so it's not like that's going to help us out very much. And as the year goes on, we'll see who we're able to get, but it's time for our first game with the Stallions. Throughout this entire video, I get to show off all 5 of our different jersey combinations, and if you want to play along with the series, I'll leave the team builder information right here or down in the description. The player names are the only thing that won't carry over, but as you can see, we have made it to Georgia for our first game as a program, and there come out the Stallions. I like how the jerseys turned out. We're going to be starting on defense, so we'll see how that goes. I know this roster's not good, and we're facing players with 94 speed. I'm really not sure what to expect. I want this to be a challenging first year. They're already breaking 1 tackle, and I felt like we did pretty well there. Now they're hitting us with the play action. They have plenty of time to try and get open, but we could have had a pick. I don't know how the computer's making mistakes like this, but we're in a really good spot. We're about to hold them on 3rd down, and there was no universe where I thought we'd hold the Bulldogs to a 3-and-out, but we just hit their punter. I know I saw that late. That penalty's going to bail out Georgia, and I just have to know that in this series, we're not going to be able to come out trying to block the punt. Now they're running it. I'm definitely going to mess around a little bit with how much clock and time's left in the game too, because if the accelerated clock makes it feel like things go by a little bit too quickly, then we'll have to change things up. but we couldn't get to that ball. I thought we were about to stop them. And Georgia scored a touchdown on their first drive. It might be a long first season for the Stallions. I want to win a game, but I don't even know what button this bubble screen is, so we're just going to have to hand it off on the first play where we get a good bit. That wasn't too bad. Jay Newman got loose. Now we're going to try to wait on our drag to get open, and we do make the catch. But on top of that, they hit Casey Quinn late, so this penalty is going to take us all the way to midfield. I like what I'm seeing so far. Now we just have to try to run it against them. We've picked up some good blocks against the Bulldogs, and look at that. Jay Newman has gotten loose for the touchdown. At 5'5", I didn't think he stood a chance, but the 86 speed running back just got the best blocks that Southern Kentucky University has ever seen. And this team is playing with some heart at the moment. Now they're hitting us with the RPO that gets them a little bit, but that's not too bad. We're actually making tackles really well right now. And on 3rd and inches, they're going to hit us with an RPO again where we can't bring them down. I want to say that was my fault for not pressing, but I'm afraid if we do press, we're just going to get burnt deep. So we're going to have 2 safeties back whenever we run man-to-man, and this play almost worked really well for us, but we just didn't make a tackle. For the first quarter of Southern Kentucky football, that was actually an incredible performance, but I'm afraid as the game goes on, they're probably going to pull away. There's a flag on the play, and Georgia can't seem to do anything right at the moment. That's going to back them up by 5 yards, 1st and 15 now. We weren't able to guard everything. And I think one thing that's going to end up being very evident is it's going to be hard for this defense to get a stop throughout the entire season. I have to stop doing the hit stick tackles. They're clearly not working. And I really don't enjoy taking out these kickoffs because our blocks just aren't good. Since we can only run the same play once a game, we're going to have to switch things up all the time. I hit him with an end around here, but Chris King wasn't able to get loose, so we will see what Jay Newman can do on this play. Our blocking's actually good. I don't understand how, but I will definitely not complain about it. And at the moment, backup running back Scott Simmons is in the game, so we're going to get him on the halfback screen where he has 90 speed and he can get us close to the marker. We're going to play as smart as we can. If it's 3rd and inches, a fullback dive should get us the first. And there's no reason for us to continue to go away from the run. We're pounding it. The 2-minute warning's closely approaching though. The read option was the wrong decision. And this is where we're going to struggle. It's a 3rd and 6. We have to hope that something gets open, or we can step up with Casey Quinn to go to the 30. Georgia has absolutely zero home field advantage at the moment, but I should have never said that because after that play, the place would get a little bit louder. And as you can see, I wanted to call that play call on the left. That's the one we scored a touchdown on, but it won't let me. We can only run the same one a game, and we're not picking up the 3rd down. So we have a tough decision to make right here. I would call a timeout, but I feel like this is a makeable kick. We have the meter in the right spot. We're going to drill it. And I think the main key to our success so far has just been keeping things slowed down, but we got to bring them down too. The second that we have to throw the ball consistently, we're in a lot of trouble. We still can't make a great tackle either. We have one more person that can bring him down. And I'm happy with what I've seen out of Southern Kentucky so far, but we're whiffing on a lot of them. Hopefully, the longer we play, the better that gets. Our cornerback just got dusted, and we have 43 seconds to get down the field. Will we be able to do that? I am not sure. Casey Quinn completed that pass. I didn't even know what button it was. I was just hoping for the best. That one I did. And this is key for playing on the road, keeping the home crowd not that engaged. Another halfback screen is going to help us take it past the 40, but we're going to have to continue to keep moving it, and we have all the time in the world. That is not something I was expecting to have. It almost feels like something isn't correct because in some of my other rebuilds, I've had way better rosters and still had no time. So I'm not sure if it's a bug or what. On the final play though, we have to miss this ball. Oh my gosh, I just really messed that up. We should have gotten a field goal right there. I wasn't thinking. And now we're starting the second half down by 11. Mistakes like that are definitely going to cost us. We also have to get this ball out so quickly. They were about to hit us late. We're trying to get loose though, and we get 8. I'm happy with what I just saw out of freshman Kingston McCarty. This run is going to go for a ton of yards against them. And we're playing out of our minds at the moment, but I thought that was a pass. We're just going to have to get this ball out quicker. If I knew what button that was right there, I would have thrown it sooner. I'm glad it wasn't picked. And here on 3rd and 13, we can't make a single audible. We're just going to have to hope that they don't play that ball. I don't love that we have to punt it back to Georgia here, but we also can't go for it. We had all the time in the world to get that punt off. I thought they were about to hit us, and it's crucial that we make it so they somehow only get a field goal here, but I feel like that's going to be tough. For example, we had 2 defensive backs over on that side of the field, and neither of them played the ball. And now on 2nd and 2, they're going back to the run where we hit them. Here we go. This is what we've been looking forward to. We're not going to have the right angle, and they just keep on going back to the run or the pass where we couldn't bring down the tight end. We were so close to getting it. We still haven't stopped the Bulldogs. That's the biggest issue. They're getting in again. And now that we have to throw the ball, we're in a tough spot. I highly doubt that Chris King is able to toast that guy over on the left side of the field. but we have the slant and they caught up to it the whole time. Running the ball's been so much more effective than passing it though, so I'm trying to go back to it. And now it's 3rd and 10. I thought they were about to send in the blitz. I have to hit this pass over the middle, and Casey Quinn is sold for us. We shouldn't really be punting it here, but that's what a football team would do in the 3rd quarter. We're down by 18. There's only about 6 minutes left of game time, and I'm running out of safe defensive plays to call, so they have us doing a bunch of blitzes. I think that rule of only being able to call the same play once a game is going to make things even more difficult. Man-to-man's not working, but nothing has. We haven't stopped the Bulldogs once. The only time we did was to open this game up. I don't know what type of RPO they got going on right here, but we got them. And here we go, 2nd and 13. I don't know what player I'm stuck on, but they have somebody open. By now, I've pretty much accepted that we're not coming back in this game, so we're probably going to skip over more of it. And this is starting to go how you all probably thought it would. Georgia's defense hasn't played this well all game, but started the 4th quarter and they're doing everything right, where I have no choice but to go for it here. I'm hoping that we can get this throw out at least, and it's swatted. This is where things continue to go downhill. It was looking so bright for such a short period of time. We're going to get our first interception though with Brooks. I don't know what Carson Beck was thinking. And senior cornerback Asher Brooks has the biggest defensive play in school history. I shouldn't have tried to take it out. It could lead to us taking a safety against them, but we still have a halfback screen to use at our disposal, so we're just going to wait for it to get open, try to cut up with Jay Newman, and he gets us a first down. I can no longer use quarterback dive anymore. I forgot we already used it once, so we have to hope that Casey Quinn can pick this up with the quarterback sneak, and I'm so intrigued to see if we can score against Georgia's defense in the final couple minutes. Passing the ball has been our biggest weakness so far. We have a lot less time back there, and I've noticed that the best teams tend to play a lot better in the 4th quarter than the other quarters. It's a perk in the motivator coach tree. Every player becomes hot once the 4th quarter starts. We're going to get this out on 4th and 12 though. Our tight end catches it, and there is still hope for us to have some success on this drive. I honestly think we're just going to chuck up a prayer and hope that Williams can moss this guy. He almost held it, but it didn't work out for us, and by the time we're going to be on a 4th down, I'm afraid our hopes of scoring more than 10 points are probably over. Luckily for us, Georgia's not going to be trying too hard to score, so we're going to hold them. And that means only losing to the Bulldogs by 25 points. That is something we can build upon. We could win a game this season. And in the Grand Rapids series, my last Team Builder one, I think we went 1-11 in our first season, so anything better than that would be a huge win. Just checking in on recruiting right now. At the moment, it seems like we're just in first place for about everybody. They're not in their top 5 stage yet, so we can't hard sell players like Todd Stark, but I really want him at QB. I also have another 50 points available, so we can go after left end Lester Sheets. And I hope we don't disappoint in our first home game versus Coastal Carolina. It is finally time that we take the field at Somerset Down Stadium. As you can see, we are kicking it off first. We get to start on defense, and there's quite a few people out here for our first game at home. The entire city of Somerset has made it out. We're wearing our yellow jerseys with the green pants, and we got some black ones, we got some gray ones, so there's a lot of cool combos that can come in the future too. I don't think Coastal Carolina is supposed to be that good, so if we could pull this off, that would be incredible. And here on 3rd and 11, we could actually hold the Chancellors, but they're trying to bomb us deep, and we just can't keep up. Thankfully, we dropped the ball. We've come out in safe man on the punt return, so there can't be a penalty. And as you can see, the game's saying Chris King's our best offensive player. I don't think that's true though. I think it might be 5-5 Jay Newman. This is the play that we scored against Georgia with. But Coastal Carolina wrapped us up pretty easily, and we're fumbling the second offensive snap of the game for a touchdown. Tell me why Coastal Carolina's run defense looks better than Georgia's did. And just the fact that they got 7 points out of that makes me so sick. 3rd down again. This time, I think we're just going to take the drag and hope that we can pick it up, but we didn't. So we're going for it on 4th and 1. We're giving it to a 5-5 running back. All he has to gets a little bit, but he was too small to fight for even a yard there. And somehow we've gotten off to a worse start against Coastal Carolina than we did against Georgia. It's only the first quarter though. There's no overreacting that's going to happen right here. We should have gotten the sack. They somehow broke the tackle, and we still can't get him down. This is so painful to deal with sometimes. I don't really know what else we can do. And I think run committing might be our best option. Jet touch pass. No, it's a handoff up the middle. We are all over it. And I'm sending 7 players at this quarterback to end the first quarter if they hike the ball. Well, time ran out before then, but that means we still have a chance to hold them, and we don't. The Chancellors are already up 14-0. And this is our first Sun Belt game in school history. We cannot get embarrassed in conference play like this. We're already going to have to burn through one of our halfback screens. That was probably one of the best performing plays against Georgia. And I hope Casey Quinn is quick enough to keep it with this read option and pick up the first touchdown. That was the right read right there. It just didn't seem to matter. None of our punts are really great either. They're not even going to fair catch the ball. They hopped over one of our tackles. And if we lose by more points against Coastal Carolina than Georgia, I'm going to be so embarrassed. The fans that have come out for our first game probably aren't going to be back for another one. They're doing everything. And if they're going to run the ball like that, I really don't know what to do. We should have played that ball. Our corner was right there. But because they have low awareness and stats, they're not going to pick it. I can't do this for an entire season. We're going to have to figure something that works offensively. And I think I'm going to just hit Kingston McCarty on that zig route. Normally those go really well. But it's third down again. We cannot afford to get stopped early on this drive. We're going to have to take a drag route. This halfback draw play also worked well against the Bulldogs. They probably were expecting us to throw the ball here. But because we have such low overall players, none of our spin moves work or anything. And we're actually fortunate that the game made me pump fake right there because I was about to throw an interception. This is more of what I expected to happen against Georgia. Instead, it's just happening against a team that is much worse. And they still have a minute and a half to drive down the field and do something against us too. What the heck? Can we bring them down? Okay, this is getting ridiculous. Somebody, the gameplay on College Football 25 is a lot of fun whenever you have a good team. And I'm happy that junior EJ Clark was able to get a sack there, but it's 2nd and 18. They have all the time in the world on this next play. And I figured they were going to find somebody. If we could hold them to a field goal, that would actually be a huge win for this team. But I'm afraid they had too much time back there. They throw it away. And we have done it right here. We have stopped Coastal Carolina, kind of. I'm going to stop playing like a wimp too. We're slinging this rock no matter what. We're going to see if our receivers can beat anybody. And Chris King is on one of my favorite routes in the game. I would try to throw it on this play, but there was no time to look for it. Come on, Casey Quinn. You've got to do better than this at quarterback for us. That ball is getting swatted. And if they have a decent punt return here, they're about to get another field goal before the half. At this rate, there might not be much of a second half for you all to watch, though we're going to get the interception with Brooks, and this could be the turning point in the game for the Southern Kentucky Stallions because Brooks is going down the field to score our first touchdown. Asher Brooks already has 2 interceptions in this season. We're 2 games deep, and I considered going for the 2-point conversion, but we're just going to be grateful for the pick. That was the little bit of life that this team desperately needed because so far their defense has locked us down, but now we feel a little bit better. We're only trailing by 17. We get the ball to start the second half, and it's become more and more apparent to me that I need some fast wide receivers on this team to make this offense usable. 87 really isn't cutting it. We're only successful when it comes to running the football. And we have to remember that we have Scott Simmons on the bench, a 90-speed running back that we could get into the mix. But Jay Newman had that break-off touchdown run against Georgia, and I'm not sure if I'm ever going to be able to forget that. At that moment, I was honestly so confused, but I was also just happy we did it. This is actually going to work well. And it's taken our offense a very long time to get settled, but we're having our first good drive of the game. We keep on making guys miss. But we need to sub in our backup running back at some point. Jay Newman is clearly so tired, and if that spin move is good, he could have been gone. Well, there he is. Scott's out there on the field. We'll see if that 90 speed feels any bit quicker. He just has to make this defender miss, and you can see it. This drive has taken a lot of time off the clock, but I am very happy with what we've done. And on 2nd and goal, we're going to have to probably make a hot read, but we have to hold on to it too. We can't really throw it up in this situation. We're going to have to fit it into a window. And I think if we want to stay in this one, we're going to have to kick a field goal here because that will get it within 2 possessions. That was a 5-minute drive to get 3 points. It doesn't feel good, but it's time to lock in because if Asher can get another interception, we are back in this game completely. Come on, bring them down. 2nd and 4 now. I'm ready for the run. We were going to shoot the gap, but their quarterback did keep it. And going into the 4th quarter, it's going to be a massive 3rd and 3. I think we're prepared pretty well for it. My user's a cornerback, so he's going to be quick. They've thrown it straight to our DB. Wallace gets the interception, and hang on, this is really good. The Stallions refuse to go away. We're showing some life, even though we had a terrible start. And it would be so nice if we could just catch the ball whenever we had it. That's it. You know exactly what's coming out here. We had enough time to get the halfback screen out, but we can't outrun him. And I've set a curl route at that marker. We're just going to have to throw it to one of those linebackers, and there's the interception. There was nowhere else to really go with it, at least that I saw. The only thing that was open was the drag route, but that wouldn't have helped us move the chains. Now our defense has given up a huge passing play to the Chancellors. And I'm afraid that our little bit of hope isn't going to work out in the end. They're about to get a huge running play against us. Can somebody please just stop them? We have to go into practice and just train tackling for the rest of the day. And we're no longer in a spot where we're able to run the football. We're going to have to throw it, and that's a little bit harder. I thought being at home we would do better than we have in this matchup. And I might already be considering benching Casey Quinn. I haven't liked what I've seen out of him. He's only a sophomore, so we'd have him for 3 years, but we've already found a prospect that we want to use to replace him, and that's another interception on the day. That's 2. That's not good. It's definitely about to lead to another Coastal Carolina touchdown, but we knocked it out. And I'm really just hoping for the best right here, but there it is. Since we're already losing by so much, what I might do in this situation is just sub in our backup quarterback. And I'll get junior Jamal Walker a couple of reps just because the wear and tear effect has kicked in on Casey Quinn. I've made sure that there is going to be a drag route open underneath just so we have something to throw. But there might not have been anything open there, and I've thrown it to the defense for the third time. How am I ever going to win a championship? With my skill and the combination of how terrible this team is going to be. This series might run us to the end of the college football season. It's going to be every single Friday. And at the moment, I really don't see how things could get much better for us. Until we win a bowl game, those recruiting restrictions are going to be so tough. And I legitimately can't throw the ball. We're going to try to do it again right here, fit it into that window. And this has given us a chance to see what Jamal Walker can do. This time around, he's going to miss the pass. So that's a little bit disappointing. On third down, I know that nobody's really going to get open here. And I'm going to throw this comeback route either way. It's man-to-man coverage. We don't turn around in time. 4 interceptions in one game. This is worse than Georgia. We lost that one so badly. Our home fans are disappointed. And we scored more points on defense than offense. Since in order to start this dynasty, we had to replace another school, it looks like some of our school grades are going to drop even farther. And we've seen 2 players hit the top 5 stage, so we can start to hard sell them, but I'm not sure how much they're going to want to come to our school. I'm telling you right now, if we don't get Todd Stark, we're going to continue to struggle offensively next year. And wide receiver Josh Henry's pretty important too, because he's one of the only ones that didn't bust. Some of our other options in Kentucky and Tennessee just aren't as good. He's a JUCO, and then this kid is 83 speed. So I really don't know what to think right now, and looking at our conference standings, we're about to play the team that's in the number 1 spot. Appalachian State's pretty good, and we have to go on the road to play them. But there is one plus to that, and that's the stadium that they play in. It's honestly beautiful. One of the backdrops in the end zone is just a bunch of trees, and you might not be able to tell with this shot right here, but we've brought out the gray jerseys. We're also starting with the football, so we'll see if we're able to score points on this first drive. And it's time for Casey Quinn to finally do something. By do something, I mean hand the ball off to Jay Newman and just pray that he gets a ton of yards. And I really don't know what to do offensively. Nothing's working. We're like 10 seconds into this game and I already feel hopeless. The corner route was open though. And because we just missed that pass, we're set up to start down by 7. I'm going to trust that Asher can get an interception though. He's had one in each game so far. But in order for that to happen, they have to start throwing the ball instead of just running it against us. This Roberts kid isn't a Darrington Evans, but he's definitely a solid runner. And here we go. It's 3rd and 4. They're going to pick it up to that right side of the field and we're going to knock them out. Looking back on it, I probably should have gone with zone coverage. Now they have a touchdown, and it's probably just going to go downhill from here. If only this play could work the way that it did against Georgia. We didn't get good blocks again, and we'll just keep on handing it off. We'll see if we can get anything. We're probably playing too passive offensively. We're going to have to scramble for this first down. Quinn's going to break 1 tackle, and what a play from Casey. I know I already don't like the sophomore, but we have to rely on him for the rest of the season. We're also getting a big run, so it seems to be very hit or miss on what works. The jet touch pass is finally gonna lead to a big gain from Kingston McCarty, and the Stallions go into the second quarter feeling a bit better. Unfortunately, there are certain plays that we're not able to run again because we've already called them, but that's why I have that setting turned on, and the RPO to Jay Newman makes it 3rd and manageable. This is tough because I don't think we could get away with handing it off again. We had to mix in a wide receiver screen, and I am determined to get us a touchdown on this drive. Now we're going with the halfback screen, but what happened there? We should have had a huge gain there. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but that's a great catch, and it's taken us a couple of games, but we're actually putting on a good fight. We're also going to have a chance to make a read with this RPO. It didn't work. It hit our lineman, but I'm not sure if it was open anyway. I wanted to try and take that corner out and force it, but it probably is best if we just take our points and make sure that we keep this game a close one. I almost missed that kick, but I think there was just a penalty against them, and the refs have saved us. What a great call. They want us to score a touchdown on this drive. We're waiting for the man-to-man coverage. Someone should get open, and I just know that we're still going to mess this up. We're still going to fail to get in, or maybe not. Jay Newman got his 2nd rushing touchdown of the year, and now we just have to figure out how to hold them tied up 7-7 in the second quarter. That was a miserable attempt at a tackle. Now they're streaking down the field. Somebody, please just knock him out. I had to call a timeout after that. We need to get everybody a break because we can't let them get a touchdown in just 2 plays, and it was effective. 2nd and 13. Now they're going to try to throw the ball versus our defense. That's fine. It's not going to be a first. And from previous mistakes, I've learned that we have to run zone coverage in these situations where we have a zone over there. but we didn't pick it. What is the purpose of having a hard flat there if they don't even do their one job in that spot? And that is so unfortunate. We really do need to get new players at every position. I'm not sure if the defensive backs behind these guys are much better though. We're about to lose our starting 4 corners. So we'll see what happens next season after all of them graduate. We're only trailing by 3 points though, with 54 seconds left in this first half. We could drive down the field, at least tie things up. But I feel like that's a bit too optimistic. What's more realistic for us is like an interception or something. I don't know where that throw was to. But Casey Quinn did not put it where it needed to be. We're patient enough, though, to find Kingston McCarty. And apparently, if you just stay in hurry-up mode, you can run the same offensive play twice. We just got to get out of bounds now. All right, there's still a little bit of hope. 29 seconds left in the half now. We might have just burnt number 7 deep. And here we go. What a route that was. We're going right back to Williams. We're going to take it inside the 4. And we are going to run the football in this situation. I want everyone to try to stop it. But I pitched the ball and we didn't get it out. Everybody just bit right there. It worked how I wanted it to. Now we can't take the sack. I'm throwing it away. And I don't know if we're going to get this final field goal off. I had to click as quick as possible. That is such an unfortunate way to end the half again. And that's the second time that we've had bad clock management now. This might be Southern Kentucky's best chance to pick up a win. This is the best we've played. But now Appalachian State has it back. They're driving down the field and Roberts just got a little bit of a speed boost there. And we'll see what they do on this 3rd and short. I am not able to get my hand up in time. O'Neal doesn't make the tackle, of course, and they just made him look stupid. I want to say the Stallions can still fight here. We're going to put our best receiver on a streak. I knew it was probably cover 2, and it was, but there was no space to put that ball. It's time to let Chris King get loose another type of way. We have the reverse coming in. He only gets us 5. And I really like the look that we have here on 3rd and 5, but their linebacker got over to Cookie Williams. So how has he come away with this football? I couldn't tell you how we just pulled that one off. The fade routes sometimes work, and we got to go back to running the ball every so often. That was our key to success. I don't like that it's already 3rd and 8, but if we get this out, we should have plenty of good blocks to make sure that we're able to move the chains. And one thing that we still haven't had in any of these first few games is a fumble. I've never played every snap of every game in a season before. That was meant to be a throw. So I'm picking up on some new stuff in this game, but I think that might be intercepted. We came back to the ball to get it, and it might be smart to try and attempt this 54-yarder. I'm not sure if we have the leg for it, but we have to give it a shot. This could put it within 3, and we almost hit it. It turns out freshman Jesus Martinez needs a little bit stronger of a leg, but he still has plenty of years in front of him to where he can still develop. Now they're going to run it. And what was our best chance to get a win so far is starting to turn into a game that's over. We need the Mountaineers to make a really bad mistake, like throwing us an interception or something, but they're being smart with the football, and we just knocked that out in time. I feel like if I somehow clicked on quick enough there, we could have had a pick 6, and those stats show that we're playing pretty well against Appalachian State. We're just not going to be able to do it in the end. Holding them to a field goal is the last thing that we could do that would still give us a chance. But no, I've lost most hope when their running back is literally just hurdling over some of our players for fun. And that was so unnecessary. He literally just wanted to show off against us. What's worse is next week we have to play against Western Kentucky, our in-state and biggest rivals. And we are nowhere near as good as we need to be with this team, but we have a touchdown. We had a touchdown. I'm giving Casey Quinn until like week 5 or 6, and then he's done. He just threw an interception. Granted, that was probably my fault, but I'm blaming him because I'm like my ex. I'm not going to take accountability for my own actions. And I think it's safe to say that this game's over. I don't know what else we can do here, boys. I tried. I think every time we go down by a lot, I'm just going to put in our backup quarterback. So that way Jamal Walker can get some reps too, just in case he becomes the starter later on. And let's see what he can do with this team. They're going to run some coverage like that where we're just going to have to check it down to Jay Newman, who's able to get loose. And I have to give the little guy credit for having 86 speed. He's been fun to play with. He definitely feels a little bit faster than that. Jamal Walker just got destroyed though. He's now stepping up and running because he's decided he's not just going to sit back in the pocket and take hit after hit. He's going to get out if he needs to. And I have to say, this drive's going a lot better than some of our past ones. There's the 53 overall kicking in though. We knew that he was bound to make some bad throws. That bad throw was just because I thought Zero would stick off of our receiver at some point. Don't tell me they're about to get a pick 6 too. No, this score is going to look even worse than it was. I can't do this. We're already just getting destroyed in every game. And the poor Southern Kentucky Stallions are just no good. We're throwing up a 50-50 ball. Chris King's going to make the catch. But the fact that we turned it over in the red zone the last time was so heartbreaking, and we actually had a touchdown right there. Listen, normally at this point in the game, I wouldn't care to show much more, but I see something in Jamal Walker. I feel like we have to get some reps in with him. And there it is. He finds Chris King for our receiver. receiver's first touchdown. That 86 throw power is definitely a lot better to use than the 81 we have with Casey Quinn. But being a junior quarterback, I know that he's not going to be around as long. We're in a tough spot. So far, just looking at his overall stats, I feel like he is the better option. But just in case we don't land Todd Stark, we need to develop our sophomore. At the moment, it seems like we're going to get every prospect that we're going after. I'm actually really happy with how recruiting's going. But there's still a long season ahead of us. A lot can change, and we're ready for our rivalry against Western Kentucky. It took us less than 2 hours to get here by bus. It really wasn't a far drive. And we are starting off on offense. I'm not sure how to feel about this. I kind of like starting on defense more. We're still sticking with Casey Quinn for the time being, but I think if we get to the point where we're chilling at 0-6, we might have to make our quarterback switch then. Good first run from Jay Newman though, and if he's going to be pushing it down the field like that, we're just going to continue to keep it on the ground. That didn't last for long. Now we're going to get Scott Simmons loose with the halfback screen. He is 90 speed. He's supposed to be the faster running back, but because he's a little bit taller, he definitely doesn't feel like it, and we definitely had the first down right there. We just didn't get the ball out in time. That's unfortunate. I didn't want to have to punt it back to the Hilltoppers, but we really had no choice. We're going to have to be a bit quicker with our reads, and I'm ready to shoot the run gap, but they hit us with the counter. After that last performance against Appalachian State, I'm actually pretty confident in how we're going to start this game out. I figured they'd have some motion in, but even though we had 2 players in the area, our coverage just couldn't stop them there, and we get the user pick. That is senior Keon Sanders with the play. Now we're going to try to score the first points of the day, and Cookie Williams was not the player that we needed to get the ball in that situation. We're going to get the first though. I'm so pumped up with that turnover. Right now we're in a spot where we can take a lead on our rivals. Just need to make a couple guys miss, and we might just have to hand it off to Jay Newman for the rest of this drive. He's having a great start. It only makes sense to go to the air if they heavily commit down on the run, and we're in an interesting spot because I feel like we should go for it on 4th down if we don't pick this up. If this kick wasn't straight down the middle, I definitely would, but we should take our points too. And after getting a really good kick return, the Hilltoppers are starting this drive on our side of the field, so that's not great. And how on earth is Sanders this slow? He was able to get the user pick, but he could not get in the position to make a tackle there. Now we need their quarterback to make a bad read, and he just had too much time in the pocket. I'm afraid that the Hilltoppers are about to go up by 4, but it is 3rd and 1. We've stacked the box as best as we can. I'm ready to stop the run right here, and we didn't. We need better players in here immediately. I'm ready to pull everybody's scholarship if we could, but that's just the nature of having a new football program. It is now 3rd and goal. If they run the ball, they're going to have a touchdown, but I expected them to go to the air, and we are about to get a sack. Come on. We should have had him there. I mean, I'll definitely take holding them to 3. That's still really good. But we had 2 guys just not take the proper angle after getting by their offensive lineman right there. Since we did get the ball first, it's crucial that we end this first half with some more points. I feel like we're about to get a huge run out of Jay Newman, and he breaks the tackle to keep on going. I wish he was a little bit quicker. That was his moment right there. He's such a good running back for us, but he doesn't make much happen here. And I'll continue to hit him in the flat and see if he can make anything happen. We're going to spin, but not go anywhere again. All right, it is 3rd and 7. I feel like we were going to beat them deep with this play, but we're going for the aggressive catch. And if we could just score inside the red zone, we'd be in such a better spot than this. This time around, their drive's starting from the 25-yard line instead of past midfield, so that's better for us. And we actually locked up really well in that situation. We weren't prepared for the halfback screen, though, so I'm glad we still stopped them. If this blitz gets in quick enough, we're going to get the ball back, but instead of just getting the ball back, we're going to get the ball back with a pick 6. Asher Brooks to the crib. We just shaded down. I pass committed. We predicted it perfectly. And this is the best start the Stallions have ever had. I can't believe we're playing this well against our rivals. They're probably feeling the pressure at the moment. We might have another interception. Give me that to Lee. Oh my gosh. Southern Kentucky's going to come out on top. This is our first year as a football program, and Western Kentucky's already having issues with us. We don't make the catch. But as long as we're smart about how this first half ends, we're going to be in a really good spot. Cookie Williams spins to the outside, and Cookie Williams is in the end zone. I cannot believe what we're doing to the Hilltoppers right now. But apparently we missed the extra point, so that's what I get for simming it. I thought we could just skip over it. Up by 3 possessions. I'm hoping that doesn't come back to bite us, though. They are starting to laser it over the middle of the field, and we'll see if we can still hold them. I'm not sure if we're able to get over to that ball either. This is actually embarrassing. After how well our defense played early on in this game, we're just giving up a ton of yards over and over. And now we're only going to go into halftime with a 10-point lead with them unless we can make something happen with Cookie Williams. I'll also let Jay Newman try to break off one more run. It's just not happening. And we'll see what can happen on this final play of the half. I hope this isn't an interception. I just wanted to have a chance at getting points. Either way, it was still the best first half we've ever played, but mainly because of our defense, not our offense. So I'm super hopeful that that can happen to continue in this third quarter. though their receiver that just got that on the reverse is super quick, and we're going to have to bring him down. Oh, he just got destroyed. There's other words for what just happened to our defender too, but I have to make sure I keep it family friendly. And here we go, 2nd and 8. We're going to get over to that hitch route, though they might have the slant later on, or we're going to get the interception. Their quarterback is blinder than me. If we blow this game now, we don't deserve to win the rest of the season. This is our best chance. And I can't believe there was a period where I doubted what Casey Quinn could do. He's actually played a really solid game. That's another throw that's just good enough from him, though this run didn't work. And I'm not sure how to feel about this RPO play. It doesn't go for much. Cookie Williams is certainly on an interesting route on this play. We don't have many options to go with here, so we're just going to have to hope that break is able to get open, and it wasn't. There were 3 players over there. I didn't really have a choice. We had to throw the football or else we're going to get nothing. We have to try out new stuff whenever there's not many plays we can call. They're about to score again, though, which is really unfortunate because we were just in such a good spot. I don't know what type of pitches they got going on at the moment. They're getting a lot of motion involved with their offense, but it gets them a touchdown, so we better lock in. We're only up by 3 points, and we can't get much. I swear, we better not choke a 17-point lead. We cannot recover from that. We have to make a good throw. And all of a sudden, it is 3rd and 8. We're going to have our corner route open. It accidentally went to Cookie Williams, though. And I already see the writing on the wall. They're going to play much better once the 4th quarter starts, too. We have actually blown it against Western Kentucky. We literally have to get them off the field before the ending of the 3rd quarter. We're over to make a tackle right there. We're still holding them up to bring them down. And then they just ran out the rest of the clock. At the moment, they're leading us in both passing and rushing yards. And I'm super nervous for what they're about to pull out. It looks like they got a little bit of motion involved once again, and the tight end is open. They've run that play twice now, but I'm biting down when I really shouldn't be. And we're just throwing anything out there defensively, hoping for the best. But somehow, we just got done so dirty. Sophomore Grayson Bell Jr. still has a lot to learn. I don't know how you let that happen to you. Are you serious? Bring him down. Okay, it's 2nd and 8 now. This is still manageable. They're going to hand it off. We're going to shoot the gap. And of course, they're still standing and going for the 1st. They've also been running down the clock, which is not good news for us. Can we please just make a tackle? I can't do it anymore, man. They just can't bring them down. And we've given up 21 straight points to the Hilltoppers. It doesn't get much worse than that. Luckily, there's still plenty of time left, though, and we had no time there. So I don't know what I'm doing. We need to go back to running the ball, but I hit the wrong button. My instincts are still messed up from NCAA Football 14 with the read option. Thankfully, we are able to get inside the red zone, and I think we're going to have to turn on chew clock from here and just hope that we get in at the last second of this game. I really don't trust our defense to stop the Hilltoppers one more time. We haven't had much success as of recently, and we're so close to getting into the end zone now. We just need this to work. I think this bubble screen could actually pay off really well. They looked confused, and we're celebrating our way in. Now we've left them a decent bit of time, so I have a feeling they have a decent shot at getting into field goal range. Like, that's just the reality of the situation, which is pretty frustrating, but I don't think they have enough time to get into the end zone, and that's my bigger fear. If we blew this game fully because they drove down the field in that short of a time period, I'd be so much more frustrated. And I'm surprised that they're running the ball. It's almost like they're just settling for overtime. I took a timeout to try and ice their kicker. It all comes down to this, but he drills it. And we have 5 seconds left on the clock to pull out a miracle. If somehow Jay Newman is able to score a touchdown here, that would be insane. But instead, we couldn't take down Western Kentucky in regulation. It was definitely a choke. Now we have to play overtime with these rules. And I just hope that we get to start on defense. Southern Kentucky's won the toss, so that's what we're going to choose. And their first play is going to be an RPO over to that left side, where Lee is not able to get to 17. Well, it's not looking great for us, but we've definitely stacked the box. That's going to work. And on 2nd and goal, they just hand it off up the middle. Here we go. This is it right here. If we can stop Western Kentucky, they're going to only take 3, and we've actually done it. With a touchdown, we're winning this game. I think it only makes sense to feed the ball to our running back. He's the one that's put us in this situation, along with our defense, of course, but they're getting a little bit more aggressive when it comes to stopping the run. If we can't pick up this 3rd and 7, I'm really tempted to go for it on 4th down, especially if it was short. But we couldn't make that catch, so it might just be smarter to take our 3 and go into overtime number 2. We need to have a better plan than we did there, because run pass did not work, so I think we're about to pass after this run. Wait, Jay Newman to the crib. That's what we needed on the last drive. He does it in the first play of 2nd overtime. And now we have to go for the 2-point conversion. I feel like we have to pass in this situation. Our slant route is open, but they're saying we didn't catch the ball. Chris King had a perfect opportunity here. It hit him in the hands, but he dropped it. And we have to hold the Hilltoppers now from not only getting a touchdown, but also a 2-point conversion. If we lose on this play, I might cry. They're going to the air. Come on. Somebody get a sack. They've had way too much time back there, and they dropped it. Now is when things get really good, because we're about to trade 2-point conversions back and forth. Everything's boxed up besides that. You know, I think it's only right we give this to one player. And our blocks also need to be good in this situation. We can't motion King over to the right side of the field. He has one player to make miss, though, and we just lost to Western Kentucky. We had such a good chance. I'm so heartbroken right now. I thought we were going to pull that off, and we might never see a game as good as this one again out of Jay Newman. It's frustrating some of our players, too. We now have 10 of them that want to transfer, but we're playing Arkansas State, who's 0-3, so this is our best opportunity, especially since it's at home, to get a win. Just checking in on recruiting, it's looking good for most of these players, but Memphis is catching us on the 3-star receiver we really need. It's because our pitches just aren't good, and after seeing these 3 grades for middle linebacker Kevin Amatova, I think we're just going to remove it and instead send the house. At the moment, this 1-star receiver is still the only commit that we got, and I forgot we had the instant commit out of him. I have no idea what his stats are. Just looking at the conference standings in our division at the moment, we're at the bottom, but so is Arkansas State, which is why we really need to pull off a win at some point. It was only a matter of time before we brought out the blackout jerseys. We still have a decent amount of fans in the crowd, and Somerset, Kentucky's showing out for this new team, even though the Stallions haven't been good. That's the first time a halfback screen's gone really south for us. Now we're handing off the ball. This is our favorite play to run, and look at that. Jay Newman, one guy to beat. If that defender didn't come out of nowhere, we would have been up 7-0 already, and we're just going to keep it on the ground. We clearly can run the ball pretty well against Arkansas State. After we just got so close to a win, I feel a lot more confident with this team. We have what it takes to pull it off. Clearly, we just choked, and I think it's important that you keep it fun as well. Mixing in stuff like the reverse play Kingston McCarty goes nowhere, but one of those days I'm confident that will pay off for us, and the corner route didn't get open. I'm trying my best to not force it down here on the goal line, though that has a chance to be a dot, and Cookie Williams holds onto the ball to give us a lead in this game. The Stallions are up 7-0. I'm kicking all the extra points, and I have to say, I think this stadium turned out really well for this Team Builder series. Our impact players have been the same all year, so those must not update the way that they did in NCAA Football 14. We're already missing one tackle, but that's okay. We expected at this point, and now they're going to get the first down plus a good bit more. I'm so excited to be playing with a Team Builder team in a series again, though. It has been a long time since Grand Rapids, and it's going to be a journey to make Southern Kentucky the best team in the country. Every Friday, these will be coming out 6 p.m. Eastern time. I've gotten back to a pretty consistent schedule now that the launch stuff's over with. And here we go. We got to be aggressive on 3rd and 1. We could have gotten them off of the field. Unfortunately, they got just enough. And their running back's trying to do what Jay Newman did. But it's going to be hard to top some of the performances that he's had recently, and this number 2 kid is so shifty. We might have to learn the name Jaquez Cross. Now they're hitting us with the play action. But junior left outside linebacker Julian Jones gets the sack, and now they're going back to handing it off where we hold them. I think we can force them to take a field goal here. All we have to do is make sure they don't pick this up, but they get into the end zone instead. And what do you all think about the end zone designs? I think it turned out pretty well. I definitely don't want to see the other team reach it, though. We're going with the jet touch pass. We're going to pick up some good blocks, and we just had to make this guy miss. The fact that I can't spam the same play a bunch really makes this a lot more challenging. But I also really like that because we're going to discover new things. RPOs with the bubble screens have worked well for us in this situation, and we just got to keep on pushing it down the field. We have a lot of blockers coming over to this side. Jay Newman once again fighting for a lot, and I'm gonna try to hit Chris King over the top if they bit down on that, but this might have been a really dumb read. There was no reason to switch things up from what was working. I have to remember we're using some terrible wide receivers, but Jay Newman gets out and gets a touchdown. This 5'5" little kid might be our best chance at scoring all year. And if you all don't know what the reference to that name is, who his brother is, Jake Newman, it was my first huge series that really blew my channel up. I used a 5'5" wide receiver in Road to Glory, and it was a ton of fun. So I wanted to have that experience on this team the first couple of seasons. I mean, he is a junior, but we're about to get the sack, and that's junior linebacker Wyatt Gray. All they're going to do is hand this ball off. We should be getting the ball back here. No way we just gave up that big of a run to them. We literally just can't do anything right. We always make mistakes at the most important time in the game. And now they're probably going to tie it up to end the first half. We just need to get a fluky interception or something. Come on, just make a bad read. You all are 0-3 for a reason, but of course they get open again. And I think I just have to run commit every play and hope that that confuses the computer a little bit. Somehow, no one got pressure, but they also didn't get a touchdown. Once again, we've run committed, and that time it didn't work. I'm surprised at how much they just passed right there, but they're going with cover 0. This little time left in the half. If this throw is good enough and we can outrun that corner, we'd have a touchdown. We need better wide receivers on this team so bad still. And we've just had to make sure that this is the final play of the half. There was no room for error, but we could have had a huge run too. It's 14-all. They get it to start the third quarter. And we need to hold their offense. They're going with a run on this first play. It's just been a battle of running the ball. Our stadium pulse has definitely not gotten loud enough. The fans need to get more engaged. And here we go. We could get them off the field on 3rd and 5. but they're going to have multiple people open. That might have been a decent spot to blitz. I was ready for the bubble screen against them. And we're going to apply some pressure on this play as we shoot the gap. This is it right here, 3rd and 11. Please tell me we're able to stop them. They went with the halfback screen, and they are not going to get enough, I don't think. But apparently they did, and now they're hitting us with the read option. The blocks are holding up really well, so we're going to have to knock their quarterback down. All I can say is we have got to figure out what we're doing if we're going to hold them. They have open players everywhere, and Malik Hornsby is doing whatever he wants against us. We have an RPO ourselves, though, to Cookie Williams that's going to get us quite a bit. And I have to give him some credit because he's so tall. I think he has the best spin move on this entire roster. It looks like we're using our backup running back on this play, though. Church is in the game. It's not even Scott Simmons. But now Cameron Church is out. We needed our 5-5 running back on 3rd and 1, and we're going to use every stretch play we have in this playbook. If we get the right blocks here, we could have a huge one, but Cameron Church is in again. He's more of a power runner, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I love the quickness of Jay Newman. Now we've mixed in some play action. The corner route should be open, but they might be able to play that ball. Thank goodness they didn't. We've made so few mistakes in this game, but we still can't pull away, and I just realized Cameron Church is our power running back. That's why he's out there in all these formations underneath. Our tight end is supposed to be running a corner route, which he catches and then drops. So it's going to be 3rd and 12. I'm hoping that this screen gets open, that they're a little bit confused, but it didn't work for us. We're going to have to kick the field goal, and I swear, I just missed it to the left. That is such a terrible miss to have. I can't believe we just shanked it. And it could ruin another great chance for us to get our first win of the season. On the bright side, it is 3rd and 10. They're going to go with 4 verticals. We just need our DBs to play it here, and we can't get back to the ball. Asher Brooks just got toasted by number 7. He's been our best cornerback, but that play really, really hurts us. And at this point, it's just a rinse and repeat of the same process in every game. We feel like we have a slight chance, and then as time goes on, we blow it. But this is an interesting cover 0 look that they're showing us. We might be able to beat them deep with our fast wide receiver. I mean, 87 speed's not that quick. It just is for this roster, and on 4th down, we need this throw to be completed. Come on, Jay Newman. Not all hope is lost yet. We're not out of this game yet. We need that to be on target, though. And we're probably still better off just feeding it to Jay Newman and letting him go to work. With 2 minutes left, we're in a pretty tough spot, but I think we might have them beat deep with Kingston. Kingston drops the ball, and now it's 4th and 3. We should have had that all day, but we're still going to get this. It might be a little bit too late to lock in like this. The game's probably over. I mean, we have all of our timeouts. And it might be time to bench senior tight end Tyler Sams after this one. I mean, that ball could not have been an easier thing to catch. How did he drop that? This roster that I'm working with at the moment is just no good. We're fumbling it away. The game's over. And how have we managed to lose to Arkansas State? We played so well. I'm still going to keep on run committing, just trying to get the ball back versus them. I mean, we have them on a 3rd down, but we know that our odds are not good from this point in the game, and they're taking the sack. I think Malik Hornsby had a lot of players open there. He just didn't really see it. And Casey Quinn's just getting another opportunity to try to fit it into tight windows. That ball wasn't placed well. The corner route could beat them deep, though. Number 7 got confused. And I really wish the game didn't force us to just run out of bounds immediately. That's been tipped into an interception, though. So we're ending this one 28-14. Wait, it's saying that it was Jalen Rayner starting at quarterback. So that means at wide receiver, it was Malik Hornsby that caught a touchdown pass. I swore this dude used to be a quarterback. That's a crazy position switch. What I should have been looking at is Jay Newman's rushing stats. And we've gotten our first commit in quarterback Todd Stark. That's the best case scenario. We just got the future of our program on the team. And I can use those extra points to start scheduling other prospects for visits. I'm going to do it on bye weeks because it's impossible for us to lose those. Unfortunately, Kentucky's probably going to catch us with this JUCO tight end. So we'll make sure to monitor that. And now we're going on the road at 0-3 James Madison. They're also in our division struggling as well. But if we lose this game, it might be time to give Jamal Walker a shot because he does have a little bit better of throwing stats. We don't really need to develop Casey Quinn anymore. We have our future quarterback coming in. And the Dukes are the lowest overall team that we've faced yet. Being a 73, they shouldn't be that hard to take down. The only issue is it's on the road, and there are a ton of fans at this stadium, even though their team has not been that good this season. Their quarterback transferred to Texas State, but they got Dylan Morse from Washington, so I'm not sure what's caused them to take a huge step back from Jordan McLeod, but he's already rushing for 7. We might need to just apply pressure early on, and that hit makes it 3rd and 7, where they're looking to throw the ball. I'm all over that, but they also had a curl route open. I've noticed that they stay in hurry up mode, which is going to be a little annoying to stop, because our same defense has been out there on the field for this entire first drive. And I know that some of our defenders out there have to be tired. They're going to have that slant. Well, we could have guarded it. We're going to get the interception right here with Asher Brooks. That's his 3rd of the year, and Asher Brooks starts us off right. We have been waiting for something like that to happen. Don't wave goodbye yet. It is way too early to be celebrating like that, but I do feel really good about how we've started out in this one. Jay Newman with a run. This This is actually so much fun to use someone like him, but we need to put him in at power running back too, because Cameron Church isn't getting the job done for us. We're going to take this corner route to our tight end. Or maybe not. There was no way we were ever getting that throw off, and not that one either. That's about how much time I expected to have in the pocket against Georgia. I'm not sure why it had to come against James Madison, though. This punt is almost on the money, and we've wasted such a crucial defensive stop against the Dukes, unfortunately. If they stay in hurry-up mode all game, this is going to be a high-scoring one, because time does not go off the clock as quickly, but I just missed shooting that gap. I think that's the exact look that we're going for. If we were able to generate pressure, now they're breaking off another huge run, and I'm just dreaming of getting a win right now, to be honest. This is the last game that I'm playing before I go play basketball for a few hours, just to get a little bit of a break. So it's as fresh as I'm going to get for a while in this season, and we get the interception with Jones. Okay, we've already gotten 2 in this game. Their quarterback is as blind as can be, but the read option never really goes far. And it's about time we give Jay Newman our favorite play, the halfback stretch that doesn't get much. Okay, it is 3rd and 6. We can't mess this up again. They stuck with what I wanted to throw, and that actually just dropped into their hands. No, there is no shot that they just got an interception on us like that. I've seen enough. Jamal Walker is getting his start now. We're not going to do this later. I'm going to give him a chance to help us pull off this upset. They're about to score a touchdown, and it's sad this would be considered a huge upset since they're winless. I'm going to try to run the speed option to end this first quarter. We're going to pitch it last second. Jay Newman has plenty of green grass in front of him, and we'll take this. Jamal Walker's a little bit quicker than Casey Quinn, so we can actually pull it on the read option if it's there, and he does have that, but I think we're about to get stopped. I can't risk fumbling the ball. This has definitely opened up a big door for our offense, though, and my main read on this play is simply going to be the drag route. I just want to take the smart stuff. Was it worth it for just a yard? Probably not, but we can also step up and make sure that we pick up the first until we fumble. That's why I need to slide. It's just dumb mistakes that continue to cost us, and I'm not sure when they're ever going to end. I feel like I do them no matter what. It does make me feel good that this is 3rd and 7, though. We could get the interception, and that was supposed to be cover 4 coverage. Hurry up mode is so glitchy. I just hope it's out there on the field here, because that's what I was expecting. We get over to make the tackle, and this time around on 3rd and long, I have the defense out there on the field that I wanted, but we weren't able to stop number 1 from breaking free. Going down 14-0 at this point is certainly not ideal, but Jamal Walker has a chance to prove himself. I truthfully think he is our best option just because of the stats that he has, but if he doesn't perform any better than Casey Quinn, we got to stick with the sophomore. We're able to find Jay Newman to get close to the first. And to be real, no matter what happens here, I think we'd go for it on 4th down, but we picked it up on 3rd. That was actually a really good play. I had no issues running it back. This time we're going to find Jay. And they're coming in with a super hot blitz here. I was ready to run back and throw it on the run. Jay gets a little caught up though. So we'll see what we can do on 2nd and 7. We have the touchdown on the left side of the field. It's also a perfect throw. And Cookie Williams makes it a 7-point game. You simply can't doubt this team. We just need to make sure that we get a stop versus them. I think I had a really solid user there. And let's see if they can get any yards on this play. That's a pick 6 all day. Come on, don't fall over. Keon Sanders has now pulled that off twice. And I should be excited, but I'm still terrified that we're not going to finish this off. I really like that matchup that Cookie Williams has. If this is man-to-man again, we would have taken it to him. Instead, we're going to get a couple of yards. And on 3rd and 4, we're just going to let the drag route get open, where he is going to take us to the 6. We have 4 plays to get into the end zone from here. We're going to do it on the first one. And Jay Newman ties this all up at 14. This could be a program-changing game for us, because if Jamal Walker's really that much better, that could change the course of the entire year. They have so much time, but we get the sack. And I've literally called a timeout because I wanted a chance to get the ball back again, but I could regret that. We'll let them run out the rest of the clock. They're not going to score on this play. And this is the same situation as our game against Arkansas State. The only difference is we've shown that we can stop the Dukes. We've done it with 3 different interceptions. And we also get ball to start the 3rd quarter, so we could take a lead on this drive. You know that it's just going to be us handing the ball off to Jay Newman a bunch. And then on 3rd and short, we'll let Kingston McCarty come across with the jet touch pass. We get the good block, but there's a flag on the play, so it doesn't matter how far we get down the field. That is so painful to see. We had a huge gain there. And now it's 3rd and 11. They're going with man-to-man coverage. But we have created separation, and we dropped it, of course. You know, Jamal Walker has played pretty well. He's done everything we've needed him to. That was his first incompletion, and it wasn't his fault. I'm still a little bit upset about the fumble. I was ready for them to throw it over to this left side of the field, but we're not going to lurk them again. Now it's going to be a 2nd down where I couldn't get over to that ball either. That was an insane cut, but we've gotten lucky because before the next snap, they would commit a false start. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that penalty called in this game. That's pretty neat that it's actually in. For the computer, that is. It's happened to me all the time on offense when I tried to hot route. Unfortunately, we knew that was probably coming, but it's all good. We could still tie it up on this drive, and that was the wrong read. 2nd and 13 now. We're just going to hand it off again. The blocks aren't great, and this is a huge moment in this game. We need our blocks to hold well. I'm going to actually scramble with Jamal Walker. We'll take the first. I don't think it could have worked out any better than it did right there. And James Madison's done a lot better job at stopping the run in this second half. I made the wrong read here because I should have cut up. I was worried they were about to send a blitz, but it's cover 3 and we had it beat. I don't know if I should be punting here, but now I don't want to burn one of our timeouts. I might have pushed that meter too far to the left. Yeah, we did not pin them back at all. And the more I see all the drops that we're dealing with, I want to recruit more receivers, even more. Can we bring this kid down? I'm definitely getting deja vu to Grand Rapids season 1 now. This is what we went through, and I'm ready to fill that hole up. Come on. Somebody bring him down. We know exactly what we need to start the fourth quarter, but the question is whether or not we're able to get it, and we get the interception. That was an incredible user play. Let's go. All right, we really have to take advantage of that now. There is zero room for error at all, and this could be our moment. We're going to use the jet touch pass. This is going to get Kingston McCarty at least a first down, and now we're handing it off to Cameron Church. That kind of felt like a waste of a play, and we aren't going to have anything here. I got to throw this away. That's on me. That was just great coverage from the Dukes. It's going to be 3rd and long. I'm waiting for that crossing route to get open, but it's dropped. And so many times our offensive drive is just ended because we're not able to make a catch. It's really hard to deal with. I still believe in this team though. We've gotten a lot of defensive stops in this game. We can get one more against them, especially if they want to hurry it up, because they have no reason to be doing that against us, and we're not going to make a play on that receiver. No, he's gone, and that's going to make it 28-14. This is exactly what happened against Arkansas State. It is no different. And I'd say it's worse than that game because we've had so many opportunities that have simply not panned out. I gave Cookie Williams a chance to moss that defender. We're going to go to the halfback screen on 3rd down, and on 4th and 7, I'm reading that corner route on the left side, but we don't have it. It's been an offensive collapse. It's the same thing all the time. No tackles either, which means that this one is pretty much over for us. They're in field goal range, so there's no reason to even try. But just in case we get super lucky, we are. Southern Kentucky has to win a game by the end of the season, and it's time to just use this drive as a test for what we can use. That play clearly wasn't it for us, but I do think we should stick with Jamal Walker. That was a really good throw. And what we might have to do is just switch up our playbook for the rest of the year. I think I've seen all that I've wanted to out of this one. It's not great, and we have almost zero hope on 4th and 20 unless we somehow make this aggressive catch. Once again, super rough second half, but at some point we are going to change that 0 in the win column, and when I get back from basketball, I think our best chance is going to be one of these next 2, or maybe on the road at Georgia State. It's not like our conference is good. These team overalls are not that high. We're just so much lower. I think we still have that commit secured, and we just have to finish the rest of these battles. Josh Henry was another one I was concerned about, so we will be scheduling him for a visit in week 7 against Marshall. It might be our best chance because our bye week in week 9 was already taken by the Tigers. We also have 10 points to spend, so putting them into this receiving game section is something we should probably consider. And the playbook switch over to Alabama's is now official. I hope that it helps us and doesn't make our offense worse, but it shouldn't. I think it's going to suit Jamal Walker's play style a lot better. We're going to be able to run with both him and Jay Newman. As you can see, there's not many fans behind the end zone at this game. This isn't a good showing, but I can't blame the fans. It's been a pretty rough season so far, and we almost had a pick. That would have been the most legendary way to open up a game that we have had all season. And instead, it's a 3rd down where they're going to go with the play action. There's no way they were running the ball, but they found someone open. I still don't know how to feel about zone defense in this game, because versus man-to-man, I feel like it's better. We're going to run some blitz on this, though, and they still get a few yards. I mean, they're just staying in hurry-up mode. There's nothing that we can do to stop the run, and Jalen White is such a quick running back. Either that or our defense is just really slow, because the second that he turned the corner there, he was gone and we have nowhere to go. We really can't go 3 and out on our first offensive drive in a new playbook. We're going to have to use Jalen Walker to step up in the pocket. I should have slid, and that's a really good reminder to do that the rest of this game, because there's a lot of chances where I probably wouldn't. I want you all to know that we're probably just going to run the football even more. That seems to be what works best for us. But if we have to throw it on 3rd down, I think we're more than capable of doing so. We're going to have an open drag route to pick up the first. And now we can mix in an RPO. I want to throw this bubble screen so bad. We have 2 blockers over there instead of 1 in the last playbook. So that's going to be a fun play to have, even if we can't call it anymore in this game. Now that it's 2nd and 11, I'm going to mix in our first halfback screen of the day. We didn't pick up the blocks the best that we could have, but we have made sure that this drive is going to stay alive for a bit longer. There's some stretch plays in this playbook too, so we do have a chance to get loose, but I feel like I'm stuck spinning instantly or else we're going to lose yards. Using Chris King with the jet touch pass, we're taking the ball inside the 7, and things are getting real to start this 2nd quarter. We're going to try to use some motion to get into the end zone, but they weren't biting, which means we had another chance to throw the bubble there, but it was guarded. It shouldn't be on this play though. We have a lot of options that we can take. 2-on-2 over on that side of the field. And you know what? We're going to be aggressive. We're going to go for it on 4th and goal. I feel like we could step up with Walker and fight our way into the end zone. That is exactly why we have Jamal Walker out there. And now the pressure's on them to respond back because we've been able to tie it up. Oh my gosh. I saw the vision there. If we didn't have somebody ready to make a play, they would have easily been gone. But now it's 3rd and 6. We have a bunch of cover 2 stuff out there and Tucker's stuck with the deep route instead. All we had to do to make sure he played it, or at least attempted to play it, would be shading underneath. And since they've had so much time recently, I think it's best if we mix in a blitz. Now it is 3rd and long. All they can do is hand it off. We're going to call a timeout. And getting the ball back with 3 minutes left in the half is plenty of time to move it all the way down the field. I am going to lose my mind. I didn't come out and punt safe man. So the one time we get a defensive stop, it might actually mean nothing. I know they said they addressed that bug, but I feel like it still happens more often than it should in this game. So they probably need to tune it a little bit more. There's 3 players over on this right side of the field and we almost had an interception. Instead, they've slipped off. We were literally in the perfect spot until that penalty. That is so frustrating. But we just tell them with that sack right there and they have somebody open. All right, our main goal before we get to the end of the first half is just to score at least a field goal on this drive. But we have finally had a deep passing play. I noticed they were pressing Chris King. I liked what I saw, and they probably thought we were about to go with the jet touch pass, but that didn't really work. Now they've sent in 6 players. We have to get this one out so quickly and leave it up to our tight end to fail at catching the ball once again. I'm going to try to hit him on the sideline, but it was a bad throw. We held on to the meter for too long. This should be a good field goal though, except it's a bit off. And what a terrible way for us to end the first half if they're able to score more points before. There's still like 45 seconds left. I'm still salty about that flag that we had whenever we forced them to punt the ball. Our safety just didn't play it, and we're losing by 14. I'm not sure if what we're doing in recruiting is going to be enough to save this roster. I just threw an interception too. This is the worst ending to the first half we have had all season. I have never seen a team blow a game like this, at least one that we were closely in. And what are you even supposed to do at this point? We were supposed to get the ball back in a tie game with them, but then we didn't. And then we gave up 21 straight in a heartbeat. I don't know why we're even trying to get a throw off to end this first half. We're obviously not going to win this one-on-one. And this is a collapse I don't want to talk about. I honestly think we should use the whole second half to just learn the new playbook that we've switched over to and see what type of stuff we can get to work. I think these bubble screens could be good. That actually was one of the worst things that we've done yet. We had an orbit cross screen though. We had a lot of motions going on. I tried to do something with it, but we're just not that quick. And with a quarterback draw, a linebacker throws us on the ground. I truthfully believe we have no choice but to go for it though, and we might have picked it up. So we're just going to hope that the refs don't review that play, and using the spin, we get nowhere. There's some other moves I could probably try to pull off, but I feel like that's still the best one. I'll go for the juke on this one. And it's not letting me snap the ball. It actually just gave us a penalty for that. I'm slowly losing my mind. We have man-to-man coverage over there on that left side though. I tried to test them, but what I really need to be doing is just taking our short reads and trying to get yards out of it somehow. They got pressure in so quickly right there though. I didn't even have a chance to think. That corner route did not work, and it would be irresponsible to go for it instead of punting it right here, but that's one of the worst punts we've had. If they score again, it's done. We can try again next week. What was that defense? I mean, it was a bad throw, but we pretty much just tried to give them a touchdown. And here on 3rd and 7, I'm pass committing. I want everybody to be aware and ready to stop it. We had 2 people over there. This roster is actually so cooked. There's nothing good about it. I'm never going to forget that game against Western Kentucky either. It was our best chance. If we go 0-12, there might not be a season number 2, because this is the worst start to a football program either, and they got me with all those motions. They're still not getting into the end zone. Assuming they don't right here, we're still going to only be behind by 3 possessions. The game won't be entirely over. We forced a fumble too. Can we get that? The fact that one of our 4 guys in the area didn't get it's disgusting. And we're going for a deep pass here. I'm not sure if we're going to have the time to get it off, but I think it was actually open there. Our tight end is on a delay route, and I don't know why I tried to wait on him to throw him that football. We didn't dust this guy deep either. We're going for the aggressive catch. And this might be the saddest set of downs in school history. There's no way that we picked this up. I might go insane before the end of this video. Things aren't getting any better. And it's a shame that we're going to follow up that sack by giving up a touchdown. Is there anything positive to see on this side of the ball? No, it just keeps on going downhill. The halfback screens aren't even good. And I hate to say it, but we might have been better off using the playbook that we had. Hang on. The play that we just ran is actually so good. I'm going to remember that for next week. It literally might be our first one of the game. And throwing the ball is where we really start to go downhill. It just doesn't work out that well for us. Like, I'm honestly surprised we just completed that pass. They tried to press Chris King, and instead of trying to drag a foot, he just jumped out of bounds. I have a really good play for this, though. We're literally just going to throw it to our tight end. He catches it. And this is another RPO that we might have a touchdown on. I feel like if throwing that fade route could work out well for us. There we go. Kingston McCarty just came down with the football. And the freshman receiver just showed out, even if this one is completely over. I'm still happy with what we saw right there. The score might have been bad at the end, but it should have been closer than it was, and that's a commit that we desperately needed. We're also so close to landing Josh Henry, which is a really good sign. Just looking at the other prospects, Kentucky is going to get this tight end. We're going to remove him from our board. And sometimes these athletes that are supposed to be running backs end up being super good linebackers, so Alani Diggs might be that for us. I do find it a little bit weird that most of the 3-stars that are interested in coming to our school from Tennessee and Kentucky are JUCOs, which isn't great, but we need all the help that we can get at every position, so it doesn't matter to me. This is another winnable one for us. Marshall's 2-3. It's not like they're amazing. And if we can't pick this up, we're going to have to finish the season with 4 straight road games, which are even more difficult. I'm not proud of where we stand in the Sun Belt standings at the moment, but one thing I will say is I'm happy that it seems like we're going to struggle for a bit, and the reason for that is by the time we eventually win a championship, if it takes like 12 seasons, it's going to be super rewarding. And at the moment, this is on pace to be much more difficult for us than Grand Rapids was on NCAA 14. The restrictions are working. It's a real challenge. I meant to keep it, and I do feel like I need to play almost perfectly for us to get a win. It's now 3rd down. We have the delay route to Tyler Sams, and he's going to go to the 44. Now, there was a play that I said in the last game I wanted to try in this one. I forgot about it until right now, but here it is. It's a halfback angle screen. We got super good blocks on it when we ran it in the last one, and we didn't catch the ball. Jay Newman might have sold, but I'm going to give him the direct snap, allow him to try and pick up the 1st down. And then we've gotten ourselves another bubble screen that we could throw, but they almost picked it. There's a lot of those in the playbook. I'm just afraid that we're going to throw an interception on one of them. And that ball couldn't have been placed better. I can't believe that that actually just worked for us. We are sweating it out at the moment, trying everything just to get points on this first drive. And I think it's time for Kingston McCarty to come around on the jet touch pass. We're going to see if he can outrun this defensive back right here, and he can't. If this wasn't such a hard field goal to make, I definitely wouldn't be going for it, but I felt like we could get the halfback angle route. And this drive has taken the entire first quarter, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end. We were so close to getting the touchdown, and I hope the fact that they're stacking the box this heavily doesn't affect us here. All we needed was good blocking, and I'm not sure why I just went to the outside. It still worked out. Jay Newman was able to get in, but that was definitely a struggle for us. They're running the read option on the first play, and Marshall's probably the team we have the best chance of beating. I know in college football imperialism, they lost to Penn State 69-7, which makes me think that they shouldn't be too difficult to take down, but Penn State is a lot better. It was the worst loss of the whole thing. It just stood out to me. We did run zone, but our coverage looked like it was man-to-man, so it could have been a match coverage instead. All I know is it has not looked great for our defense so far. I mean, they've done whatever they've wanted, and what was that stop and go they just hit us with? The computer in this game plays like they're an actual person, and we're going to have to use the rest of the time in the first half to score again. As patiently as we can, we're going to try to move this ball down the field. If we had a good block right there, we would have gotten a lot, but Jay Newman kind of let us down, and on this play, he has nowhere to go. Well, it's 3rd and 11. I'm still going to put this ball in his hands. I felt like there was going to be a lot of open space over on this side of the field, and we couldn't get out. That was almost it right there. It would have been a huge play for us. The halfback angle route, though, will get us like 10. And if he's our best receiver in this game, so be it. I am going to step up. I felt like there was nobody ready to stop us. And it's not like Jamal Walker's the fastest. I think he is 78 speed, but he can take advantage of this if there's not a quarterback spot. Ideally, we'll force them to put a spy out there, which would make it much easier to pass against them. But there was nowhere to really go on that play, and I think they're about to get the sack. The odds of us converting on a 3rd and 17 are so low, especially if they're going to send in a blitz. And I'm not sure if we can even hit a 55-yarder, but I do want to attempt to do it. I feel okay, we should not have attempted to do it. I don't even want to say anything. I'm actually speechless after that attempt. It couldn't have been any worse than whatever we just went through. They had somebody wide open on the left side of the field. They decided to test our corners deep, though. And we need some life in this team at the moment. It's a halfback screen. We're all over the ball. So now it's 3rd and long for them, and they're going back to their running back. We should have had a good angle. I don't know what the computer's doing sometimes. I should have just clicked on, tried to make the tackle myself. And here we go. 2nd and 10. They have plenty of time to find somebody open, and that whiff tackle is going to cost us an entire touchdown. Things were actually looking so good for us. It was literally just one play, one sack that changed about everything. And honestly, if a team runs man-to-man coverage versus us, we're probably better off just not throwing the ball. What I'm gonna do is still try to throw up a prayer on this final play. We've actually beat 36 deep, but we didn't place that pass where it needed to be. And now we have to start the second half on defense. I did see some phones in the crowd though. That's so cool. I don't know how I haven't seen this before, but in this game, you can see lights flashing in the crowd like they're taking pictures. And that's a cool little detail to at least notice. They're starting off with a big run. Please do not break this tackle, because we all know we can't go down 21-7. It would hurt morale way too much. There's only a few winnable games left on our schedule, and this is definitely one of them. But it's gonna take getting them off the field on third down, and we do. I'm about to burn a timeout though to make sure that we don't hit their punter. Please do not. Okay, I was literally just clicking everyone hoping for the best. Now we just have to figure out how we're going to crack this defense again. And there's a lot of motions going on with this play, but it works to our tight end. He's able to get out in the open field. Why did I just try to hurdle? Okay, I'm going to get clowned. That actually was the worst idea I've ever had. That was not worth a highlight clip. And Tyler Sams really just jumped for glory. It didn't work at all. It was funny for a second, but now we're going to lose to Marshall. And I can't let my stupidity get the best of us here. Please do not give this up. Oh my gosh. Our cornerback just got ran by. We weren't even pressed. And all that work we put into getting the stop didn't matter. This is painful, dude. If we can get the payoff of one win in this video, it's actually going to feel so good. And by now I've just accepted that we're going to have to go for it on stuff like this fourth down, where we might have it, but we dropped the ball. That's not making it any easier for me. I still want to lose my mind. And if anything, we have to make sure that they are literally sacked out of field goal range on this drive. But I missed the tackle. I went for the hit stick. This is literally going just like our last game, where it felt like we had a chance. What is 23 doing? His awareness must be way too low. He is in a zone in that area, and they're showing us the top 25 like we're ever going to be a part of it. I saw Kentucky in there, who we have to play to end this season. And normally I'd be happy that my Wildcats are doing well, but not in this. If anything's look good for us though, it's probably going to be our red zone defense as we get the interception. And this game is not over yet, folks. We just need to get some huge gains, and we're going to find Cookie Williams. This team has some life. Jamal Walker's going to get a little bit of a quarterback draw here. We'll see if he's able to get anything. But he didn't, so it's probably best if we just leave all the running to Jay Newman. Drags might be our best friend. With the accelerated clock on, everything's going down a lot quicker than I would have liked as well. But I really shouldn't have taken a sack there, and we are not going to get it out in time. It's like every time I go to throw the ball, I just don't know what to do. And it certainly doesn't help that I struggle on Heisman even when I have a 90 overall team. Now I'm playing with the worst in the game, and I'm just hoping that we can get them off the field on third down. But we didn't, and that means we're going to drop another. At least we still signed wide receiver Josh Henry. We need players like that. And we got another running back in Abdul Madden. 11 players are at risk of transferring, so the transfer portal period's going to be big for us. And I guess our gym running back still hasn't committed, but he is pretty close to doing so. So everything's still looking pretty well when it comes to recruiting, but we only have 400 hours to spend at once. The prospects in Kentucky were also just not that good this season. All the ones that are still available as 3-stars are either JUCOs or a running back. So thankfully there's still Tennessee. We have a tight end we can go after, and then a left guard and a right end. There are more 3-stars too. Maybe we won't be completely screwed. Without even looking at his stats, the 6'5" receiver Trey Ramsor really intrigues me. We're going to try to sign him. And we're also still trying to get our first win, this time on the road at Old Dominion. This is one of our last winnable ones. We better make sure that we don't make any mistakes. And for whatever reason, I really don't remember Grand Rapids being this difficult off of the start. It probably was, and I just erased it from my memory because of how bad it was. But man, we are starting from the bottom for sure, and they're already getting like a 20-yard run. There's definitely going to be no attempted hurdles in this game. Nothing dumb going on, especially if they're running like this, because there's not a soul out there that wants to be our first loss. And I can't believe we just got the sack. It's now 2nd and 16. Come on. Don't give up all 16 yards in one play, boys. Absolutely spectacular defense that we got going on here at Southern Kentucky. I mean, they're just doing whatever they want to. And I don't even know what we have out there on the field at the moment. They've run the ball the entire game. Because of that, I am so confident sending the blitz. And I'm not sure what they're going to do on 3rd and 8. They're actually going to have to throw the ball versus our defense, where I feel like we've locked up pretty well. Just stop them short. We've come out in safe, man. We're taking no risks. And the 17 fans in the crowd just celebrated the fact that the Monarchs are now up by 3. We're going to have to play our best offensive game yet. We really haven't done that much. And that goes for the entire season. We might even switch back to Kansas State's playbook. I mean, all these pass plays that Alabama has are nice, but we can't use them whenever we can't throw the ball. Our best receiver isn't hanging on. And it's not like any of our receivers are getting open most of the time either. They almost hit our punter there. That would have been perfect. But instead, it's probably back to the run, so we are prepared to shoot in that gap, and they got the block off in time. You've got to be kidding me. We were right there. This is a painful experience. I want to win games. I am a winner. I don't like losing. And here we go. 2nd and inches. They're not going to play over on that side of the field. We're still spinning because that's pretty much all I know how to do. I also figured out that you can like stop and go real quick. We did not just fumble the ball right there. Old Dominions picked it up. They're gone. 17-0. My patience is absolutely gone. If they're going to send in a blitz, I'm literally just floating it over to that side of the field. And what's the point in even trying? We're already trailing by so much. It's not even the 2nd quarter yet. Oh no, this is probably going to be a pick. You can just see that all hope went out the door after that turnover. I mean, they're sticking to everything. They're going to intercept Jamal Walker again. Go ahead. Just return it for a touchdown. Make it even worse. I am trying so hard to stay strong right now. Do not rage. But it's not getting any easier, especially after that touchdown. Okay, did we just run by their corners? No. If I've learned one thing from this game, it's that I am done with the Alabama playbook. No more. And I'm actually going to be really curious to watch this back and see if there was actually stuff open, or if our team is just so bad that nobody ever gets open. Going for this might be an interesting choice for most teams, but I just don't care at this point. We need to hold on. And as Old Dominion tries to run out the rest of the clock at the end of the game, I would love if all of us just wipe this performance and score from our memory. It's the most embarrassing showing in Stallion history. But for whatever reason, players still decide that they want to come here. We got Lester Sheets to commit. That's a good pickup for our defense. And we have needed this bye week all season. It's going to allow us to pick up a middle linebacker too. But we did miss out on this cornerback to Vanderbilt. And now they're trying to steal this right tackle from us as well. I'm losing my mind. I'm adding as many 1-stars as I can to my board and offering them all a scholarship, because we're in first place for each one of these guys, which means there's a chance that one of them could insta-commit, and that would help us out. Well, we got one more. It's a middle linebacker, and I'm literally taking anything I can at this point, but I can't believe our class is ranked in the top 40. That doesn't even add up to me, but it is time that we go on the road at Louisville. And for these final 3 games, we will be back in Kansas State's playbook. It really doesn't matter to me who we start, but clearly Jamal Walker's progressed a lot better. And even if he's not going to play for us next season, at least we're going to have a half-decent backup. The Sun Belt standings are never going to look good, though. I'm not proud of this. And let's just go ahead and get this over with. When I started filming, I had hope, and that's what caused us to play pretty well against Georgia in the first half. So even if it feels like everything's going wrong for us, now that we've switched our playbook back to Kansas State's again, I'm going into this game with a little bit of hope as well. We have nothing to lose here. We're supposed to lose by 40. And as a Kentucky fan in real life, this would be such a cool upset to pull off. That was a solid first play. We only gave up 4 yards. They did route us up, which means we probably need to sit in zone coverage, and we just weren't able to fill that hole in time, unfortunately. Positivity can go a long way. They're going with the jet touch pass, or maybe they're trying to fake us out. I came back to it because I knew it, but it was too late to make a difference, and we stop them here. We can only use plays out of this front so much. We're going to run out of them, but I felt like it might have gotten us this stop at least when they ran the ball, until they just busted off against us to get a first. Now it's 2nd and 12. I pass committed on this play. I'm hoping their quarterback throws it to us, but we couldn't get to that ball, and Tyler Shucks put the Cardinals up by 7. Now it's going to be a long day trying to get it down the field, but we have our running plays back, and get Cameron Church out of the game. We need our quick little 5-5 running back in this situation. We're going to dump it off to him with the halfback screen. I mean, there's not much to go, but we have made it a 3rd and manageable, and we're going to have our drag route, which is all that we needed. We're also breaking a tackle. Look at Tyler Sams. All we wanted was a new set of downs versus the Cardinals. They're going to stop us here, but my hope is we can make something happen to end this first quarter. We're pitching it last second, and we just gave Louisville the freest touchdown of all time. That was my fault. I can't even say anything about it. And if it wasn't, there's nothing that we can do about it now. We just have to try to get a touchdown. We already knew what was likely to happen against the Cardinals. And that last game in Sun Belt Conference play against Georgia State is really going to be our Super Bowl, at least for the season. We're basically just preparing for that game, because if we can score a lot versus Louisville, then we should have no issues versus them. But that ball was not put where I wanted it to be. It worked out for us, but it almost went south. Now we're just going to run it for the first. And it's time to waste our only fullback dive of the game just to make sure that we move the chains. I thought we had it, but it said that we were stopped just a bit short. And we've been very patient here. Now we're going to take our halfback screen. We're going to hopefully hold that block for a little bit longer. And we're going to chew clock with 2 minutes left in the first half. That is for sure. In order to still have a chance, this needs to be the final drive. I ended up flipping this run, but it didn't really go well. We're putting this ball in the hands of Chris King on 3rd and 4, and he cuts up to fight for for the first. That was a very impressive play from him right there. We're also getting some decent blocks, but we all know there can be some slip-ups when putting it in, so we have to make sure that we still do. On 3rd and goal, I'm trying to make a hot route adjustment, but it's just not going in because we're on the road. We have our slant open, and Chris King makes this manageable. The sophomore from Maine has put us in a 7-point matchup, and Louisville just takes it to the half. If it wasn't for that fumble, we would probably be winning, because when you look at these stats, we've controlled a lot of the game. It'll really all depend how we start this second half. We have the football, but it's also when we normally make mistakes, and I think the power running might just be our solution for winning. Every single play we just hand it off unless they give us an easy bubble screen to take, and if these blocks are perfect right here, we're going to have a huge lane with Jay Newman. It's unfortunate they weren't. Now on 3rd and 4, I'm being patient. I'm taking our inside zig route because we're in no rush at all. If anything, it's going to be hard for us to get defensive stops. Unfortunately, Cameron Church is going to be in for this carry, but Jay Newman has to get rest at some point, and on 3rd down, we had it. I don't care if it's not realistic for this situation. We are going for it on 4th down. That's what we deserved. They're going to pick it up. Do not get a touchdown out of this too. Oh my gosh, they've just been gifted 2 of them in this game. What an unfortunate way to end that last drive. I just know that there's no way we're actually outrunning their corners in the long run. So they're really able to come out and press us and really do whatever. Though if this ball is placed well, we might be able to run under it, and that's what we've done. We're figuring some stuff out. We might not win this game, but I think we're prepared for our next one. And that's really our last chance to get a win this season because Kentucky's our final matchup. Here on 3rd and 7, they didn't send the blitz that I thought they were going to. And it also wasn't man-to-man coverage, but our running back's open, and what was that route? It was supposed to be a wheel, but he just stopped before he finished it. And I think that's going to take away any real hope we had of a comeback. I mean, we've still gotten them to a 3rd and 9, but odds are they're probably going to pick it up. Neither of our zones played it. And for whatever reason, this game's been really laggy for me on the menus. You all can see that right here. It's just going to take a second every time I go into something. Then when I select a play, it does that. So I'm curious if any of you all have run into that before. I haven't personally seen it yet, but it's pretty weird. I'm just going to close app after this matchup to fix it, and they don't get anything here. But they're already chewing clock. I can assume that they're going to hand the ball off. I ran commit up the middle, and here we go. It's 3rd and 8 where we had people there to stop the run. They break a tackle, but it's not enough. We need to score the quickest touchdown in school history, maybe off of a return. That would have been cool. And if we can somehow do that, this one still isn't over. Now, I don't believe that we'll be able to, but you never know. We could get lucky at some point, and no, we're not. It's already 3rd and 17. They want this game to be over, though our running back had a chance to dust them deep. And here we go. Probably the final play of the game. We're going to try to thread it up the seam, but it's going to be a pick for Jamal Walker instead. I'm sure that he absolutely loves that on his stats. They made matters worse too by scoring another touchdown on us, and I am ready for this one. 2-8 Georgia State. Here's our last chance to get a win this season. It really all comes down to this. If we won at Kroger Field, that would just be pure chaos. And Vanderbilt's trying so hard to get this right tackle from us. I'm just going to schedule him for a visit to guarantee that we're the ones that lock him in. If we land everybody on our board, that would be 15 3-stars in season 1, and that's honestly a great start in recruiting for Southern Kentucky. Well, we've made it to Georgia State Stadium. It's time to try and win. And they actually have one of the most unique venues in the country. It's a converted baseball stadium into football stadium. If you can tell in the background, it doesn't look like a typical one would. So we can't lose to a team that doesn't even play in a real football stadium. That wouldn't be a great look, and we're hitting them with RPO already. I'm going to mix in some passes to it. Could be risky off the start. The play action freed us, but that didn't get open. Mainly, we're just going to try and feed Jay Newman as much as we can, though if we don't get great blocks downfield, the halfback screens aren't going to work. And I've got an RPO ready just in case they try to bite down to stop the run. Well, it's 4th and 3. I don't care. We're running it with Jamal Walker. We're going to take risks like this in this game where we're able to pick up the first. And throughout this series, I will try to keep play calling as realistic as possible, but all of that's going out the door whenever we're 0-10 and I just want to win a game. We already have the restriction to where I can only call things once, and this route did get open over the DB, or at least I thought it would, but he was still able to get a hand on it. We're going to hit our halfback wheel route, and the fact that we're still out there on the field driving down it is impressive in itself. We did get a couple of good blocks there, but it's just not enough. We have to have more than 5-yard gains like that, and we're only getting 2. This drive is going to waste all of our best plays, but if we go up 7-0, it might be worth it. And I'm going super try hard right now. I'm even motioning over an extra blocker before we hit the halfback stretch in this direction just because I thought it would help, but it didn't. So so we're going to try and get trickery involved. Kingston McCarty comes around, and Georgia State's defenders are not able to bring him down. That is big. I thought we were going to lose yards there for sure. I know they can't hold us on this 3rd and 2. We don't want a field goal. And I think it's very important that we keep drag routes open underneath the take instantly, because that's going to lead to our first touchdown. It was about time that we had a great start. And that's going to do it for the first quarter. The Panthers still haven't touched the ball. And if anything, I'm just hoping that they have to at least struggle to get down the field versus us. We're going to get the interception on their first offensive play. And hang on, this is the best start that Southern Kentucky has had besides the Western Kentucky game. I really can't get too excited. That game ruined all hope for me because I feel like we could lose at any second still. It's because of stuff like that. We were set up to get a huge gain, but the jet touch pass to Cookie Williams goes for 7. It is actually 14-0 right now. We're going to need to play well defensively again. And I really like this cover 4 quarters look. They're handing it off, but not getting much. I wish they'd stay in hurry up mode just because that would be the only way we could call that play a lot throughout this entire game. And so far, they're having absolutely zero issues running it versus us. That was disgusting. Grayson Bell Jr.'s back literally got blown out because of that. And I'm sorry, but you can't let another man do that to you, especially in front of like 20,000 people. That's going to be on the internet forever. It is never going away. We need to stop the run here on 2nd down. We do. And Grayson Bell Jr. is already ready to come back. I didn't let him out there though for this 3rd and 2. He needs time for more recovery. I thought we were going to hold them there. And it's frustrating that they're just going to stick to running the ball, but we can handle that. We're still coming out in this dime package and it's not doing that terrible against the run. But now that it's 3rd and 6, we're switching it up with some palms. One of my favorite coverages to run. They just have a couple of slants out there on the field and we're going to get another interception. Lawson has nobody that should catch him. Okay, number 4 might. Number 4 might actually do that, but we're going to break the tackle too, going all the way. Dante Lawson makes it 21-0. And I have locked in so hard for this game because I couldn't go winless in a season, so this feels good. We can't act like there's still not a long way to go though. I mean, I can be happy now, but we're going to give a lot up. And they do get ball to start the 3rd quarter. They're about to thread the needle again. We hit it out. So that's honestly what you love to see. Now they're going to have plenty of time to avoid the sack and somehow throw it. Wait. We just snagged that out of midair. Oh, we're stunting on them. It's going to be 28-0. This is actually the greatest moment in Southern Kentucky school history, and I'm not even going to deal with it. Let's go ahead, go over to the settings. We will do a difficulty check. I read too many comments, way too many of them. So whenever I see stuff like that, it just irks me. This is well deserved. We have been waiting all season for a moment like this. They still feel like they have nowhere to go. And by now we've probably used every single cover 4 quarters that we have in this playbook. But it's seriously the best coverage. We're knocking everything out. We got to cover 4 palms here, but they just hand it off. We're going to stuff it. And I've even burned a timeout to get the ball back again. For whatever reason, I just don't trust that we're going to hold on to this lead. And whatever we do, we have to make sure that we limit turnovers and don't risk anything. I don't even like that I'm throwing the ball on this play right here, but we have to try and get in field goal range. We are still going. What a move. It's like everybody played so terribly all season, but when it matters the most, we're coming up clutch. And I know there's only 23 seconds left, but I felt like running the ball was the best thing that we could do in this spot. All I'm looking for is a field goal. That would put us up 31-0. I mean, I'd feel pretty comfortable if we had a lead like that. But we need about 10 more yards to seriously pull off something like that, and we have to make sure that we go down in time. I'm spamming it. We have never come close to playing this well in a first half. We're not missing the field goal either. And it's really been our defense that's done it all. We have hit our full potential with the Stallions, at least for this season, but you never know. We could upset Kentucky too. This is definitely the most rewarding win that I've gotten on this game so far. Nothing comes close because I've been playing all day, struggling all day, watching myself just lose game after game. And I know I've made a lot of mistakes, but there's also been some stuff that's been out of my control. Like that spin move is insane. We are in a really good spot in this game no matter what happens on this drive. So this is the first time that we're about to get a win where I feel like I don't have to show every play. And Georgia State's so desperate for points they kicked a field goal. If we turn on chew clock from this point forward, I think this game's just over. But maybe not. We're already on a 3rd and 4 where we should be able to hang on to the ball, and we do. It is Cookie Williams breaking free on the left side. I don't think I've ever been this excited in a video either. I mean, normally I like to keep it pretty chill. I'm still not going crazy though. I almost raged a lot at one point, and that's because I normally like to stay pretty relaxed. But this is a special occasion with a special team. We literally have our backups out there on the field. For our first win, it's going to be a blowout. And Casey Quinn is finally back out there on the field doing stuff for us. I definitely made the right decision putting Jamal Walker in instead. And we're about to hand it off to Jordan, who's a player that we haven't even seen before. I will say I am a little bit curious about Scott Simmons and if he'd be the better option at running back because of his speed. But by now, we simply can't bench Jay Newman. And at the end of the day, we would give up a touchdown, but we still won by 28. This is going down as the greatest moment in school history. And they gave player of the game to Wyatt Gray, who had that pick 6. This is the first time I actually want to look at our team stats too. Jamal Walker did amazing, no turnovers of course, and then when it came to running the ball, we really didn't do that much. It was mainly just all the interceptions, Wyatt Gray, Dante Lawson, Owen Lee, and if anything, that should make a lot of players want to come to Southern Kentucky. We got this guy who Vanderbilt was trying to steal from us, and I still can't believe how highly our class is ranked even though we can only go after 3 stars. Since we can, we might as well go after another quarterback too. He's still available, and all it took was 1 win for our championship contender to go up a little bit. It looks like we're still going to finish at the bottom of our division though, and just conference-wide in the Sun Belt, we were pretty much as terrible as Louisiana Monroe. I'm hoping we can take a big step forward next year. We'll see how it goes. Kentucky's in 84. So as much as I hate to admit it, Kentucky's basically on the same level as Louisville, which means if we could keep up with the Cardinals and had a chance at beating them, we could also pull this off. This isn't even the main reason to stay tuned for the rest of this episode though. It's mainly for the transfer portal period. We better not have just given away a kick return touchdown. That's the first one of the year, and that hurts to see. Brandon White was a road to glory legend for me. He is literally so quick. But in order to have a chance in this, that was not the opening that we needed. And I'm ready to see what type of players are available to us in the transfer portal already. I don't think we're about to pick up this 3rd and 15. And since we got our first win, we're back to playing realistic. We would punt in this situation where a good bounce could make this go a lot farther than I thought. No, it's Barry and Brown picking it up. They almost had another return touchdown. I just realized we're not going to be able to stop him in his 98 speed because we're pretty much going to have to back up our defense on every single play. And that still might not be enough. They got this ball out in time. He's going to get them the first down. And this is our last chance this season to beat at least one team that's in the state of Kentucky. Since we lost to Western in overtime, we're obviously considered the worst in the state at the moment. I mean, we can't make a tackle. But that's nothing new. We're so used to it by now. They're hopping over our hit sticks. And I've just accepted it at this point. We're not expected to win here, so there's no reason to get frustrated. We got what we wanted against Georgia State, and in an incredible fashion too, though we just forced a fumble. No way they're about to pick this ball up. They get a touchdown? Okay, Brock Vandegrift, I want you to be good, but that's a crazy play to make. And we might have used up all of our good luck last week. They were pressing our receivers. I had to try it. Even if we haven't been able to beat a single team deep all year, there were some good blocks, but Jay Newman couldn't penetrate that hole the right way, making this a 3rd down where they covered everything. We're punting it back to Barry and Brown now. They almost blocked it, though they hit us. That's perfect. We have lucked out. Our drive has stayed alive, and we can't make any hot routes on the road, even though I had a plan for this play. We're going to use Playmaker. This could be a huge gain and a solid way for the Stallions to end the first quarter. This is it for season 1. We have to soak it in with this original roster that has been atrocious. And we're just going to hit them with the reverse. Why not? Try some new stuff. I mean, we've used it pretty much every game. But it's better than a bunch more inside zones, and we're going to have to go for it on 4th down. I was preparing for it, though. I wanted to make it a 4th and manageable. They got in so quick. And no matter how well we play against Western Kentucky, against our rivals Kentucky, this might take us like 5 or 6 years to ever stand a chance against them. I mean, next year, hopefully we get to play at least them at home. We played them on the road this time. And let me know in the comments who else you want to see as non-conference games going forward. Like, should we schedule Louisville every year? Personally, I think it'd be cool to play all the teams that are in the state of Kentucky every season, but I understand if you all want to see different opponents too. And that Barry and Brown drop did cost them a touchdown, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. We still can't get a kick return. I knew it was going to be an uphill battle whenever that's how they were able to start the game. And looking back on that Georgia matchup, it still felt like the easiest team to run against. I don't know what it was about that. I just felt like we were picking up huge gains. Maybe it's because I was confused how we were doing so well against the Bulldogs. And I think we have to go for it here. It's 17-0. If we're going to stay in this game, it's really our only chance. But there's the karma, since that's normally where teams would punt. I knew that would probably happen though. Now we're going to get the sack. And I gotta know how the clock is running after they just threw an incomplete pass. We're actually playing good defense versus Kentucky. We just can't seem to score the ball at all. And we have to make sure that we take advantage of this chance before halftime. Scoring before halftime and then to start the second half would get it back within a possession. Jay Newman is going to fight for the first. And that was a crazy amount of effort for a player that shouldn't have been able to do that. He's only 5'5", making stuff like that happen. Now we're going to take our zig route over to McCarty. He gets it to the 40-yard line. And here we go. We still have hope for a touchdown before we get to the half. That was such a weird route from the freshman though. What was he doing? He was supposed to run a little in. I am so confused confused right now. But that's just a miscommunication. That stuff happens in football, but it shouldn't happen to us. As the Southern Kentucky head coach, I want my team to make no mistakes, and I hope they just settle for a field goal before the half. I don't want to give up another touchdown. Well, it's 24-0. We're just going to take some shots down the field. And we let this one get out of hand a lot quicker than I would have liked, but I'm so ready for the transfer portal that it really doesn't matter. We ended up just taking it to the half, 24-0. And the only way that we even stay in this game is if we get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to open up the third quarter. We're going to have to do it pretty quickly. Just handing it off to Church probably won't do the trick. And on a 3rd and 1, I'm going to pull it with Jamal Walker. I just wanted to see the quarterback run a little bit. But this is probably the last game that he's ever going to start for us unless we're dealing with some major injuries. He'll be a senior next year, and before the end of this episode, we'll see the freshman overall. And we have training results coming up. I mean, there is so much to still look forward to. I'm excited for the offseason more than this actual game. I love living in the menus. I've been on the field too much in this video already. They literally ran that route for us. What else do you want me to do? It normally beats man. I've had enough. We're just going to accept our loss to Kentucky. And it's time to set this roster up for season number 2. Just looking back on our schedule, Appalachian State finished in the top 25. We lost that one by a lot on the road. Western Kentucky finished at 7-5. That was the closest loss that we had by far. And statistically, Jamal Walker's passing stats were not great. He threw more picks than touchdowns, just like Casey Quinn. Jay Newman's rushing stats weren't even that great either. He only went for 524 yards, 6 touchdowns, which means when it comes to catching passes, these aren't going to be good stats either. Cookie Williams was our best receiver. He's a junior. Sophomore Chris King was number 2, but he is a deal breaker, so he could transfer. And then true freshman Kingston McCarty came in and put up 354 yards and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, my user, Grayson Bell Jr., the sophomore, led the team in tackles, right ahead of Keon Sanders, the strong safety, who I got 2 user interceptions with. And we're just going to look through these sack totals for a bit. We're going to appreciate them, but the big thing was the interception totals. Asher Brooks had 7. I feel like 18 as a team could lead the country, and it looks like Central Michigan had 19. We were so close to leading the nation. That might be why we've been able to bring in multiple 3-star corners, and it is time to fire both of our coordinators. I'm getting rid of them. That made Denario Song happy. He decided to come to our school, and so did the 6'5" wide receiver Trey Ramsor. Jeremy Bernard, Alabama's wide receiver, won the Heisman with those stats, and just out of curiosity, it looks like Appalachian State won the Sun Belt Conference Championship. These are the teams that made the playoffs. We'll see who wins it all in a second. But first, it is early National Signing Day. We can finally see what dev trait Todd Stark is, and he's a normal dev at QB. That hurts my heart. Stokes is also a normal dev. All of these 3 stars might just be normal. We got an impact with this running back, but I don't think we're going to see any stars or elites in here. That is so unfortunate. Everybody's normal besides, hang on, Trey Ramsor's an impact. That's great for a 6'5" receiver, though Tennessee's taking this right end from us. And you know, if there's anything I love to focus on with my coordinators, it's always both being a motivator and a tactician. We have found that on both the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. Barry Thompson, get in here and say hello to the Southern Kentucky Stallions' new coaching staff. To end the season, we'd sign one more 3-star, but we're about to get to the players leaving tab where it looks like we're going to have up to 9 players that could enter the portal. I don't like the thought of that. We know Clemson won't take them though. They just won the national championship, and all of them are leaving for playing style, including wide receiver Chris King. There is 0 persuasion chance, so we have no hope. On top of that, when it comes to players graduating, there are going to be a few guys that we're losing, especially starters on defense. I mean, all of our DBs, we know that not many of them were that good. That's a lot of seniors gone, actually. I definitely know better than the check draft results too. We're not going to put anybody into the NFL for probably like 5 or 6 years. And with our school grades, pretty much everything just went down. The coach stuff adjusted to what it should have been at the start of the year. That terrible coach prestige blocks us from signing guys like Lyle Bond though. And looking at this transfer portal, there are so many different players that want to come to our school, but I'm pretty sure not anybody's going to be from Kentucky or Tennessee. I didn't really factor that in, but we've been scrolling forever, so maybe we're going to have a ton of options available to us. And there it is. From Kentucky, not a single player's interested in transferring to Southern Kentucky. Tennessee's gotten us a couple options though. There's a tight end that we can go after and a linebacker, but that ruins the fun of the portal. So if they're transferring out of a school that's in one of those states too, I'm going to allow myself to add them to the board. We found a transfer from Kentucky, then this kid from Memphis, which is located in Tennessee, and then there were a couple from the Volunteers, but they're too good to want to come to our school. So now we're looking at all the Vanderbilt players, but they're probably too smart to want to come to Southern Kentucky. Then there's Western Kentucky, and it would be so funny if we could steal a player from them and then beat them with that player, but nobody was interested. So these are the 4 transfers we're allowed to go after, and Nichols is by far the best one since he's a freshman. I might just try to get these JUCO juniors from Kentucky as as well since they're 3-star prospects. And we're not gaining very many points, but I think Tennessee stopped going after this right end. It ended up being true, and that's great for us since Vanderbilt's about to take this JUCO. And I don't want to get too overconfident, but by the time this period ends, we're going to sign everybody that we're in first place on their board for. So like these 1-stars are all going to commit to Southern Kentucky. And then on top of that, we have a lead on pretty much every transfer. There's a couple that they could come back on, but I think we might have a full class of 34 or 35 players. This is the type of stuff I want to see. I need the true freshman 3-star commits. And then we're also going to start getting the transfers. This deal breaker came in at the last second with playing time. I'm not sure why, but the more frustrating thing is we have fallen behind on Nichols. I wasn't hard selling him and I should have been. I didn't want to guess and mess everything up. So now we need a visit to save us. I think we have a really good pitch. Playing style, that's an A+. And it's time for the moment of truth. We're about to go through this screen. We got a punter. We had to get one of those. But as you can see, Nichols went to Michigan State and then this player went to Cincinnati. That's why I don't like to get attached to certain prospects, but just looking through this board, we signed a total of 32 guys. I mean, this is a huge first class, especially for only recruiting out of 2 states. And it's ranked 62nd in the country with 21 total 3-stars. Behind Louisiana, that is the best in our conference. And funny enough, the highest overall player on this roster is true freshman Todd Stark. You know that we're about to move him to quarterback. We pretty much signed any athlete that we could, so there's probably going to be some other guys that also go to that QB position. And with 92 speed, Juwan Marcock was the athlete that is an elusive back. He's supposed to go over to halfback. He is impact dev, but he's actually going to be an even better wide receiver. Pairing that with the 93 speed that 6'5" Trey Ramsor has, I'm feeling so much better. And some of these other athletes were supposed to be running backs as well, but we're going to put him at linebacker. Abdul Madden's the last position here, and we do need some running back depth or tight end depth. I think it'd be fun to have him at that position. We're getting closer to being ready for season number 2, but one thing I've noticed is we need a defensive tackle. This guy's a 66. That's going to be a big step up for us. And I think we're going to make our current kicker a punter. Jesus Martinez has 16 less kick power than freshman Brian Hoge. He's going to be our new kicker for this team. And Jesus wants to transfer out anyway, so it doesn't really bug me. Now it's time for the ultimate moment of truth, though. We leveled up all the way to level 11, which is incredible. We have a lot of coach points to spend. We have a huge jump in overall with some of these players. And he might only be 5'7", but sophomore cornerback Deion Scott is going to be our best cornerback for sure. 74 overall feels a bit misleading though. The game likes to inflate that. We're going to encourage a couple players to transfer. And then after advancing, you're going to see that our coach prestige is going to cause other players to want to as well. Getting our coordinators both on this motivator pathway was a huge deal for some of our progression. I'm also going to start pouring points into it myself. I need to unlock it. But first, we should probably make sure that we're all the way down to tier 3 on pretty much every prospect. We're not going to be entirely there yet because I didn't realize how quickly 100 coach points would go by, but that'll help out in recruiting where we have 22 team needs. We're losing 12 seniors, and clearly we still have a whole roster that we just need to fully flush out. At quarterback, we're definitely going to roll with Todd Stark, but what will really make the difference or not how long we have him as our starter is what his skill caps are, and we need to start looking for other QBs still. He's going to be a good player still, but we need guys that are going to grow to high overalls. Jay Newman, for example, has a lot of room to improve still. And at wide receiver, it's going to be interesting to decide which of these guys actually play because we have a lot of options that are very similar. The only one that's locked in is Juwan, but unfortunately his skill caps come in and are going to ruin his progression throughout the rest of his career. And the same is true for Trey Ramsor. There's no reason to have impact dev if you can only get up to like a 78 overall. We'll figure it out. Even if we're projected to finish last in our division again, this team is so much better than what we just played with. And if you're excited for season 2 of the Southern Kentucky Stallions, make sure to smash that like button and let me know down below what else you want to see out of this series.